Hello, welcome. I'm RX Oliver, and these are my friends. And today we're playing Cities Without Number. This is a cyberpunk RPG in the same system as Ashes Without Number that we're playing on another campaign. I've got a great cast of players with me and an amazing GM on my right. I've got Martin playing somebody called Null, who we'll get to learn about in a moment. Myself playing somebody called Cutter. Next to me it's the one and only Chris Kidd, and we are live tonight on twitch.tv/I'm Chris Kidd. If you're not already following, make sure you are following there. And it's great to get this guy to meet these guys for a game together. We have in the GM seat, also known as Johnson in this game, he's the Johnson, Mr. Brian aka Logan. Thanks very much for this, Brian.
Yeah, so welcome. As was mentioned, we're going to be playing Cities Without Number, but we'll be using the Deluxe Edition, which includes some additional rules on magic, which, much to my delight, has allowed me to basically set this up for you in the Shadowrun setting. So for those not familiar, the year is 2056, and a lot has changed. This is the future that was dreamed about by people in the 1980s. It is largely dystopian. Corporations control governments openly, and so many aspects of people's lives. Massive arcologies that are essentially cities in single buildings dominate the landscape of most metropolitan areas, and outside of these massive arcologies that are owned and run by the corporations, everything else is a neon and rain slicked slum of destitute people just trying to make their lives in this dark future. Add on to that, in the Shadowrun setting, the fact that roughly, no one's really quite sure about the date, but roughly around 2011, 2012, you know, in the real world back then, we kind of thought like, oh no, the world's going to end in 2012 because of the Mayan calendar. In actuality, in Shadowrun, what happened is the world did end in 2012, the fifth world. But according to many ancient teachings and beliefs, we are now in the sixth world, and the sixth world has been reinfused with magic. And so there was a lot of things that happened in the early 2010s. One of the first things that happened is there appeared to be a plague that burned through the world like a wildfire, that caused massive physical mutations in people. Mutations that included things like tusks and horns and enhanced physical strength, and changed their ocular setup to where they could see in the dark. And the first orcs and trolls, as they've been dubbed by people, were afflicted by this virus. One of our players today is playing an orc who may have been alive in that time period, depending upon how old he wants to be. Although that is quite some time ago, he'd have to be in his 50s or 60s. I imagine you're probably younger, but it's up to you.
I think I'm a younger orc than that.
Okay. Since that first plague, they called it goblinization. Since then, children have also been born with these genetic changes. And so it is essentially now additional sub-races, or as they're called in Shadowrun, metatypes of humanity. They're still human, they're just different. Shortly after that, more children started being born with more changes, and that included phenotypes that are now referred to as dwarves and elves, and even more. But then strangely, there are even some people who are recognized by phenotype as elves who have come out of the woodwork and said, well, no, I'm actually several thousand years old. I've always been an elf. I've just been in hiding because in the fifth world there's no magic. And I would have been ostracized and hunted. And a lot of people didn't believe that at first until dragons started showing up. And more strange things. And yes, it seems that there has always been magic in the world. It was just suppressed or held down during the period of history where we are all familiar with up until the point that things started changing. Now, to narrow in the focus, we're going to be playing in Gateway. Gateway is now the name of the city of St. Louis. It is a huge metropolis in a vast tract of reclaimed wilderness. Because one of the interesting background aspects of Shadowrun is that when magic came back, a certain group of people in the northern continent of the Americas recovered their magic first and took back their land. And so large tracts of what was once the United States are now the Native American nations of North America.
Love to hear it.
And they have allowed many people to remain in cities, and they have allowed several cities to become free states. The most well-known one is Seattle, which is the original campaign setting of Shadowrun takes place in. But St. Louis, now Gateway, has become a very important city as well, because it is essentially a major stop on a smuggling route from Seattle to New Orleans. And so St. Louis has been renamed, as I said, into Gateway for the Gateway Arch. Unfortunately, one of the things that happened in Gateway, if you look at the right-hand side of the map, you will notice something referred to as the Cahokia Deadlands. So, along with the return of magic to the world, there's also been the return of some strange things like what has been named by science as the HMHVV virus, the human metahuman vampiric virus. Yes, there are vampires and other strange undead things in Shadowrun as well, but it's a virus that people can catch. And a massive outbreak overtook the part of St. Louis that had grown up on the eastern side of the city, to the point where a lot of it has just been cordoned off. Old highways like Highway 55 and Route 3 were built up over time with these massive walls made of shipping containers and concrete and anything people could find to block off this massive plagued area where people still live. Not many that aren't infected, though. Just to the west of them, we have the Barrens of Old East St. Louis and Sauget, which are slums, for lack of a better term. And then you get to Midtown, which is made up of several districts, and there are colleges and skyscrapers and all that kind of thing there as well. So you are all residing currently in Gateway, and you have been living here for some time. I'll let you decide. You can also decide how old your characters are and how long you've been here. But you are what are known as operators or shadow runners. You work outside of the law, oftentimes to help people, sometimes just for the paycheck. It's up to you. But life is hard and things are expensive, and taking care of yourself can become a full-time job in and of itself. At this point, as we begin our game, you've all been living well enough for a while, but funds are beginning to run short. And you know that while you've paid your dues for this month, you're going to need to find some money shortly to be able to continue to cover yourself into the near future. And so I would imagine that just to make things easy, you've all been keeping your eye on various sites and forums that indicate when people are looking for work, because there are always people that are looking for help in this dystopian future. Might be a corporation needing an off-the-books job, might be a private citizen who's looking for something that they've lost, but there's always people looking for help. And so all of you would know each other, at least in passing, possibly you've worked together before. And all of you would also have the contact of a local Johnson, a local fixer who sets up Shadowrunners with jobs. And so this Johnson would have contacted all of you and said that she has work for you if you're interested, and gives you a location to meet to have a discussion, because it's not always a good idea to have those kinds of discussions over general communication pipelines. So she gives you a location in High Point, which is the district just south of Forest Park. High Point is an old district that was once a theater district and an entertainment district, and still a lot of that remains. And she gives you the name of a club called Chromatic Dreams to meet her at your earliest opportunity. And so I think there we'll leave it to you. What would you all like to do?
Well, sorry, I was just writing my notes. So we've got...
Is Chromatic Dream... Well, that map's gone now. Was it tagged on that map? No.
It's not on the map,
It
no.
was just in High Point.
It's in High Point, yeah.
High
You can
Point,
go back
yeah.
to the map anytime you want.
Yeah, it's at the top left, Chris. You see
See it
it?
in the tabs, yeah. This is a bit meta for me, because I spent a couple of nights in St. Louis.
Did you?
Yeah, so
That's cool.
when I seen the archway, and it's today's years old, I'm assuming that that actually is the Mississippi River that goes through.
It is. Yeah.
I didn't know that I had seen the Mississippi, so I was officially today years old when I know that I have seen the Mississippi River. So there we go.
While we're breaking the fourth wall and going out of character, this is my second campaign with Brian in what is now known as Gateway City, because we played Fallout in Gateway City as well, didn't we?
We did.
It was very cool.
I may have grown up in St. Louis, and so it's easy for me to
That's cool. You've been here,
use
Chris.
it as
Very
a
cool.
backdrop.
Very cool. So we've got a message to meet somebody at the Chromatic Dreams Club, because it's not safe to talk about this kind of jobs over the phone or the cell communications.
Shall we introduce each of us and what we're doing before we head?
Yeah. Would you like to go first then?
I'll go first. So I am Byrne, a unfortunate orphan grown into adulthood. I'm about 29. Still think that I'm 21. And the reason that I'm called Byrne is because I actually burnt my family home down as a child, because I didn't know that I possessed magic powers, and had a nightmare, and that caused me to use fire, and that's why I have an erratic fear of fire. And all of the kids in the orphanage thought it would be funny to call me Byrne, and I now carry that as a scar. At the moment, I'm currently chilling out, scrolling on my iPad 360, because, you know, all of the corporations are definitely gone now. Playing some Temple Run. Yeah. Before I head out and go and link up because I know that the open phone network's not a good way to chat about shit.
Okay, well I'm Cutter, I'm the orc. So, I was born with tusks, and have you got character images actually you can pop up, Ryan?
I do.
We'll get Burn first then.
Here's
Actually,
Burn.
looks like an edgelord.
I told you that's the face of an unloved orphan emo child.
And
No
here
offense to anyone who's watching this who's maybe in that position.
Here is Cutter.
Yeah, that's me. So I've got tusks and pointy ears. So I was born an orc, and I've been bullied all my life because of it. When I was at school, kids bullied me and called me pig boy and monster and all sorts of awful things. And when I was a teenager, I used to cut myself, and that's why they call me Cutter. So a bit like yourself, Burn, because of when I was younger. I used to cut myself, and then as I got older and I grew out of cutting myself, I stayed obsessed with blades and knives, and it became cutting other people that became my obsession, and I turned my anger outwards instead of inwards and became a street samurai. And I'm 21 still, I'm only young, and I'm new in the shadow running business, but I'm full of life and full of energy and full of spunk, as they say, and I'm ready to try and make my fortune out here as a shadow runner. I've got quite expensive cybernetics installed. I borrowed quite a lot of money, but I consider it as an investing in myself, so I'm out here to make a buck. That's Cutter.
And finally, we have Null.
Yeah, so Null's she's an ex-criminal. She's human, kind of like femme fatale-ish. You know, she wears all like leather cat suits, but that's only when she's on business because she likes to blend in. So, you know, she would have the equivalent of like a trench coat on all the time, so she can get away. But yeah, she used to be quite a good criminal, and now she's an alleged ex-criminal. Well, that's what she tells everyone, because she don't want to get mucky doing criminal stuff, but clearly she has to because she likes the finer things in life. So that's what she does.
You're a criminal?
Ex-criminal.
An ex-criminal, alright.
You're all ex something. You're shadow runners now. You're operators now. Agents, if you will. Agents of chaos, perhaps. Agents of whoever pays the highest.
I mean, she's 30 years old, so she's older than these kids a bit as well.
Yeah.
Like,
okay.
she's done a lot of criminal stuff, so she's waiting for these guys to tell them how many big things they've done, and she'll be like, okay, whatever.
All right, nice.
So what, we're 21, 29, and 30?
Yeah.
I'm the baby of the group this time. Okay, cool.
You are. Now, when you receive the call from the Johnson that you've worked with before, and you know, Johnson is just a name that they use. Obviously, you've worked with this particular Johnson before, but you've never really learned who they are. Yeah, I know, Johnson's a funny name for it, right? But they don't give you names. They don't, you know, their only job is to provide you with work. They have contacts with people who need things done. Their job is to find people who can do those things and then pay them. In your experience, probably, we'll say 75% of the time, they even pay you. But every once in a while, one of these fixers gets it in their head to maybe keep the profits themselves and try to get rid of the team, so nobody can do anything about it. That's the kind of world you live in, right? Every time you take a job, you're kind of taking it a little bit on faith that you're going to get paid. The hope is that you will be, of course. But thus far, this particular Johnson has been good for the three of you at least. She's come through on a couple of different occasions, and so I would imagine you're probably happy to hear from her and hear that she has a job. So, how are you all going to get to Chromatic Dreams?
Well, I noticed you said some of us have vehicles. Where would we find that
You
in
do?
the character sheet? Inventory?
So it's in your inventory. If you have a vehicle, it'll be at the top of the inventory list because it's automatically.
I've got a Chrysler Nissan Mountaineer. What's that?
Yeah,
What's
you've got
that? A people carrier or a 4x4?
big old truck.
A truck?
Yeah.
Nice.
It is a pickup truck of epic proportions.
Is it got like nice alloys and stuff though? Is it nice enough for our bougie bitch? Because I think she thinks she's high class.
Probably not. I mean, you live in the slums, so you've probably had to replace the tires several times. They're probably mismatched. Wait, no, you're at a middle class level now.
I've got a middle class level, but I've spent all my money on these cybernetics to enhance myself. I think I've got a bit of a hoop day. I don't think I have a nice ride. I think I've got a bit.
I mean, it's rugged and it runs, but it's probably not a lot to look at. Think of like a nomad vehicle from Cyberpunk, right? It's like kind of patchwork, and it looks tough. It looks strong, but it doesn't look.
We'll see what she's got herself before she turns her nose up at mine. What have you got, Martin?
I've got a motorcycle. I think I've got a Yamaha Rapier.
Nice.
Which I'm presuming that's a motorcycle.
It is a motorcycle. It is a fancy.
No,
motorcycle.
It's a piano.
Yeah, she'll definitely be taking a motorcycle, but she's gonna be crafty. She's gonna like be parking behind the club, down an alley, cover it up, behind maybe cover it with some, I don't know. She must have a sheet that looks like it's got trash on it. She's already gonna be stealthing the place out.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, she definitely got a sheet that looks like garbage, and she'll throw it over.
Sure.
For a quick escape if needed later.
What about Burn? Chris, has Burn got any transportation?
You must have a bus pass or something.
You can come in the hoop day if you don't, Mike.
I've got black taxis.
No, you can come in my motor, mate. You don't need to do that. You can come in my car.
No, you should.
Yeah,
walk
you
it.
met each other. You could call. Call each other for a ride.
Yeah, you can have.
Well, I don't know. Did I give Burn a phone? Yeah, I didn't even give Burn a phone.
I don't have a phone. I've got an iPad 360.
There are public communication kiosks. You could call one of your friends.
Have you got change on your sheet to call?
He lets me know.
He has some money.
He lets me know on a thread of comments on a subreddit. I'm ready for picking up, and that's where I get the notification from. I'm like, right, okay, I'll come and get him.
Could do that too.
Reddit survived.
So, you all roll up then to the club, and pop that up. Oh, I should activate it. So the club is dark. It's smoky. Even in 2056, people are still smoking various things. It's probably not all tobacco anymore. It's likely there's a lot of other burnable things that people are engaging with. Yep, people are dancing. Lights are strobing. But you know that you've probably been here before. You know that there are some booths at the back. And as you approach, you can see your fixer. And as always, she is a sight to behold. Her picture doesn't do her justice. She's what's known as a troll. Trolls are about 2 to 2.5 meters tall. She looks like she's wearing enough clothing to cover all three of you, because she's that big. But unlike some trolls, she's not like fat. She's ripped. You can tell underneath her admittedly designer clothing that she is cut. She looks like she works out a lot in her spare time. But you can also tell by her clothing, as you've seen before, that she has very expensive tastes. The main thing that separates trolls from orcs, height aside, because Cutter is slightly taller than average human height. Orcs are usually, 6 to 6'6", kind of in that range. Feet, rather. But they all have these horns growing out of the side of their head in addition to tusks. And they're often very unique and a way to identify them. So particular Johnson...
So orcs have tusks, but they don't have horns. And
they don't have horns.
Trolls have horns, right? Okay.
Trolls have horns, and they're much larger.
So, this is our 2.5 meter tall Johnson.
Correct.
That's a big Johnson.
So,
does she have a name?
Yeah, you see her sitting in a booth. That is, she's tall, but she's not necessarily super wide. So there is still room in the booth for at least 4 other people. And there is one additional person sitting in the booth as well that you have all interacted with in the past. And that is an elf named Sigil, or at least goes by the name Sigil. And you can see him, his eyes currently appear to be glazed over, and you see him holding a relatively decent, not top of the line by any means, but a relatively decent cyber deck, and typing on it and whatnot. Again, this is the cyberpunk as imagined in the 1980s, so there's not necessarily a lot of Wi-Fi, but there is a lot of wires, and so he's got a wire plugged into this cyber deck that goes up and plugs into a jack on his neck. And again, his eyes are kind of glazed over, and if you look close, you can almost see like the code and the interactions occurring on what are clearly cybered out eyes. As you approach, she raises her hand and waves you over. There's already a large carafe on the center of the table and several empty glasses. The one in front of her is full. The one in front of Sigil is half empty or half full, however you want to look at it. And she waves you over to have a seat.
Do we have a name for this contact, this fixer?
She's a Johnson. That's all you know.
Okay.
So,
do you not normally get names then?
No, not from the fixers.
Okay.
So
not normally, not unless you develop a close personal relationship with them. Okay. Go ahead, Chris.
This is like a Fifth Element kind of future, not like the future we know, like with the wires and stuff, and a little bit more like it's like hyper future, but it's not like
it's like 1980s sci-fi,
yeah.
Retro future. So in some terms,
not like quite like Fallout, but like Johnny Mnemonic.
Yeah, in some senses, our technology is actually better than the technology in the 80s sci-fi.
Yeah.
So like our phones and stuff are better than they probably were
like,
in this.
Exactly like Back to the Future.
Yeah.
Yeah, kinda in some ways. Darker, obviously. It's dystopian. I would say even darker than Back to the Future 2, which had a pretty dark future. But yeah, it's very much. Well, I mean, I don't know if you've played Cyberpunk 2077, but that does a fairly good job of being kind of in the same line as this.
Okay, so literally Cyberpunk. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it is very much Cyberpunk. It just also has elves.
Magic, yeah. I know the Shadowrun setting a tiny little bit. I've got a couple of Shadowrun video games over the years. I've stuck them on once or twice, so I'm familiar with the sixth world, and that there's magic now, and it's humans, but they're humans plus, and they're orcs and elves and stuff. I'm kind of a little bit familiar with that. And that's it. That's all I know about this Shadowrun setting. Looking forward to
So
this.
I'm going to go ahead and pop up the map if you want to take a look at Chromatic Dreams. Just because there's a map, it doesn't mean anything bad's going to happen, but just so you can see, here's Chromatic Dreams. And get those out of the way. Beep. Sigil and your contact are at the rear table back there. And you guys all have tokens at the bottom, but we can just easily kind of move you in and kind of in that direction if you want.
Okay.
This is Sigil, okay.
We already know each other. This isn't like us three all going for the same job and don't know each other.
No, correct. You know each other. And
we know
and
Sigil.
So it seems like whoever wanted to contact who, but Cutter gave you a ride because you made it clear. Once you guys get there and you see Null, it's obvious that Null has been tasked or requested for this particular job as well. Not requested, that's not the right terms. You guys haven't been requested for the job, but your contact has contacted all of you to offer you the job.
Recommended a job to us.
Yeah.
But we know this
certain set of skills.
We know this
Correct.
Sigil guy, this elf. We know him.
You've met Sigil before. You may have worked with Sigil before, so you know that Sigil is a decker, and that deckers are very handy when there is any kind of electronic security or
The
things
Decker
like
is a
that.
hacker.
Yep.
Sweet.
Unlike our future, though, a hacker doesn't get to just sit at home in their apartment and hack systems.
No, it's like
they have to go with
I'm
you.
breaking through the firewall.
It's like that.
Yeah.
It's like that movie from the 90s with Angelina Jolie and what's his name from.
Yeah, no, it's not like that at all. Like they have to go
Trainspotting.
with you, and if there's a door that's locked or security on site, like they have to jack into that system and access it and
It's more
engage
like
with it.
the net with Sandra Bullock in, where it's just old-fashioned. You have to use a
Kinda,
server. Yeah, see? Sandra Bullock
But you got to
in.
do it on site. That's
Yeah.
the thing is, ever since the net crash of 2029, where the whole like existing net infrastructure just fell apart overnight and just imploded on itself. There was a massive hack, so many viruses going everywhere. The world basically had to reconstruct a new system, and this system is what's known as the Matrix. Predating
Oh.
the movies, I should say.
So there's no internet now. It's the Matrix. It's
Right,
called.
and so the Matrix is very similar to what we would know as the internet today, but it's also very insulated. So like there are public Matrix nodes that you can interact with for like shopping and things like that, but when it comes to like security systems, company information, things like that, all of those nodes would be separated from any kind of network, and the only way to access them is on site, which is why deckers have become so needed in a lot of these kinds of situations, because they have to go with you and they have to plug into stuff and make things happen. So, gentlemen and lady, please have a seat.
Thank you.
And there's barely enough room for
No,
the
there's-
four of you,
Quick note
or
about
the
the club.
three of
Is
you to
it
join this.
how high class a club is it? Are we out of our depth here? Are we
So-
underdressed? Are we overdressed? Or
You're probably a little, well, based on what I imagine Cutter's aesthetic to be, you might be a little out of your depth. Burn definitely is, because Burn's living the slum life right now.
Burns living his high life. He's just seen a 2 meter tall buff lady, and he's all over that.
a muscle
Like
mummy.
he can't wait to hear what this Johnson's got to say.
But
think
yeah, Null is probably fine.
No, fine.
But I
Null's
wouldn't say this is
irrelevant.
like high society. It's mid society.
Okay. I mean, if
No,
I'm
just Mole just looks like she's the female one from the Matrix. It's always like tight pleather. Yeah, like Trinity. Like all the
Trinity.
time. Yeah, so she blends in
All day,
anywhere.
every day. Yeah.
Martin, don't think I didn't notice that. That's 2 games in a row you've managed to get Sandra Bullock references. Like you got a bet on with somebody about Sandra Bullock, haven't you?
Yeah, Sandra Bullock. Yeah. One day.
Yeah, so I'm having a drink if we're in a club, and I'm trying to drink above my station. I'm trying to be more posher than I am. So
There's a large carafe of something sitting in the middle of the table with glasses already laid out for you.
okay. I'll pour an obnoxious amount into the glass, like so much that it's obviously too much, and I don't know what I'm doing, and my etiquette's all wrong. And I down it like a shot, and then pour some more.
It is some smooth sake.
Ooh, I've never tried sake. You know, in real life, I've never tried sake.
I haven't in real life either, to be honest. But
Yeah,
this
it's okay.
is
It's
this is
okay.
smooth.
Yeah, I've never tried it. I drink it all
And
the
for
time in
Cutter,
Bushido.
probably one of the tastiest things you've ever had.
Oh, excellent.
I reckon Null has it every weekend at least.
So-
So she's
Right,
just like,
right.
eh. So, okay.
So I'm gonna say that I'm
Null's our resident rice wine expert.
yeah.
Right.
I'm
Null,
gonna,
Null,
so,
Null, Null
gonna knock
shop,
back a
shop
few
at Marks
glasses
and
then.
Spencer's food court. So that's where she gets
There-
her food from.
There is table service if you want to order anything else.
I'll order another bottle of sake. I'm really enjoying it.
Can I use my special?
So the waitress is like, the same brand, sir?
Yes, of course. What else would I have? Of course.
That'll be 1,000 new yen.
I'm stepping near you if you.
I don't think I have that.
I mean, you
I
do,
haven't-
but it's
do.
like half of what you have. So
But no, I've made this
Your-
faux
your
pas. I'm gonna have
contact-
to pay for it. I'm gonna have to.
no, your
yeah,
contact is
okay.
like, if we need another bottle, I can cover it. Go ahead and bring another bottle.
Thanks. I'm gonna have to take this job now. Like,
Right.
pull me right out of the shit there.
While we're putting orders in on her tab, can I get a cheeseburger, a side of fries, 2 hot dogs, a tin of dog food, and as well, can I get a 6-pack of beer? Just the regular brand. Don't worry about posh stuff. It's fine.
So the waitress looks at the troll, and the troll just kind of nods her head, and the waitress is like, "Well, sir, I can bring you everything except the tin of dog food. I don't know that we have that."
Steak tartare or anything. It's just to feed my dog. I didn't want to splash out. But
Oh, do you have a dog?
yeah, he's not with me, but
Oh, okay.
you know, he's
Good to
not
know.
going to be too fussed. It's going to go in my
She
pocket.
says, "I'll see what I can find." And then she looks at Null.
I'm gonna use my. Can I use my head calm to try and talk to Sigil privately?
You can.
Okay. I turn that on and kind
Now
of ignore
your
everyone
your
else.
headcom, just so you're aware.
Yeah.
So, Cutter has a smartphone, and they are
Okay.
kind of what we have today. Like you can do some basic internet stuff. You can't hack with the smartphone that Cutter has, nor with your headcom.
Does it have
But the
games?
main difference between your headcom and Cutter's smartphone is that you don't have a video display unless you get specific
Upgrades.
corneal implants, which you don't have because you couldn't afford them yet. Maybe you spent too much on your apartment and all the booze. But
Nice
maybe
clothes.
it's something you're working up towards. But you can do voice and text only communication, and nobody
Okay.
knows what's happening. You don't even have to speak openly. It's kind of like those tracheal mics that you've learned to just kind of, to anyone who's like right next to your face and listening to you, it'll sound like you're just kind of like murmuring, but you can communicate perfectly silently with your headcom. So yes, you can do that. That's assuming that Sigil has the same thing or something similar.
He must do. Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna try it and see if
Yeah.
it works on him.
So you ping Sigil. You've interacted with him before, so you have his contact information. And yeah, very quickly you get a text-only response from Sigil. Hey Null, how you doing?
He's like, yeah, you know, it's the grind. It's like, I just apologize for these two idiots now. It's like, have you got any cheeky info before I have to get into the job? Can I use one of my skills to be charismatic towards him?
You
To see
can.
if I can
So
Okay.
Connect
Okay.
or talk.
Okay, so both of mine are +0, but my charisma is 14.
Well, Brian,
So
I guess we're not level 1 then. If most of our things are starting at +0 and not -1, so I guess we're not level 1, right?
No, you guys are actually level 3. I started you at a little bit higher level
Cool.
since we're doing a short-term kind of thing here.
Cool.
So if I click talk, and then do I have to add something to that?
Yeah, so if you click talk, you want to select the charisma option,
Okay.
which will add your charisma bonus to it automatically. So then just hit charisma and click the check mark and it'll roll.
Okay, so I click talk, and then how do I add the charisma to it?
Just click the little charisma pip and then click the check mark to roll.
Okay, let me see if it works. Talk, roll. Oh, I've got it now. No, I actually clicked that and then click on charisma. Okay.
Ooh. So, not a great roll. However, again, you know Sigil, and so he basically texts back, and you get the sense that you can maybe see that he's literally like tapping out the message on his deck. So maybe he doesn't have a headcom, but he's connected through some kind of network, and yeah. And he's like, yeah, I haven't really been able to get anything out of her yet. She's been kind of closed-lipped until you guys got here.
Okay. I guess I can only message one of the guys, right? Because one of them doesn't have a phone.
You can message.
Yeah, you could send Cutter a text message.
I'll just send Cutter a message saying the same thing, just so he knows.
Cutter, what is the text message notification on your phone?
So it's
And did you have it on silence?
no, it's Mortal Kombat. That's exact. Mortal Kombat. That's the one. Yep. That's
So
what.
yeah,
it is.
that goes off probably pretty audibly, because these booths have some level of sound dampening with regards to the rest of the club. So
I'm like, oh shit, turning it down, and then I'm looking and I'm a little bit wavy
And so, yeah,
because
you
I've
see the
just drank
message
half a
from
bottle of
Noel.
sake. And what does the message say, Martin?
Just repeat the information, like the sigil doesn't know anything, and also to behave yourself, stop ordering shit, and then just 7 aubergines in a line.
Yeah, I text back, K space BBZ, kiss, and then a winky face, and then one that's not a face because I pressed the wrong button. It's just a colon and a slash. It's just a slashy face. Because I've had too many sakes. Okay. And
yeah, I mean, you basically in that first gulp, you downed like 5.
Yeah,
so
I'll give Burn a nudge, like, yo, we need to speak to the Johnson. Apparently they're a bit quiet, and Sigil's getting nothing out of them. So I guess they wanted to wait until we were here. Sigil's, have we worked with Sigil before? He's a hacker we go to when we need a hacker, kind of.
Yes,
Yeah,
correct.
Yeah, okay. So she won't tell Sigil nothing, I guess, because he's a decker. Maybe she doesn't trust him. But
Probably because we're not all here and didn't want to repeat herself.
yeah, maybe.
But the whole time that you guys have been sitting texting, I've been talking to the Johnson. Well, trying to.
okay, yeah.
I've been looking up and saying sweet nothings like, so, you come here often?
Now, just to be clear, you know her. You've worked with her before.
Oh,
But if you wanna lay it on thick, and maybe this is something that you do regularly whenever you get a job from this particular Johnson, you don't have talk or connect, but
That's
so
loose.
everybody at the top of your skills list, you have an untrained option, which you can attempt. You would select charisma, and untrained isn't as bad as it sounds. It just means -1, right?
You've got
Which
no
isn't
res.
awful on a bell curve roll, which is what 2d6 is. So yeah, if you wanna try and chat her up, go ahead and give it a go.
Go for it, Chris. Let's see it. Soft.
Okay. So much as you've experienced in the past, you don't get the sense that she is offended, but she's also very clearly, at least still this time, who knows next time, not interested in you whatsoever.
She's not offended. She's a little embarrassed for you, mate. Just a little embarrassed for you.
No, she doesn't actually seem too embarrassed for you.
I am.
She's,
I'm embarrassed for him.
Yeah, you might be. She's very stoic. She's very professional. Maybe. So there's a part of you that's like, maybe if you caught her when she wasn't working, she might be more into you. You're pretty certain that's true.
I give him a nudge. I'm like, maybe one of these days you'll crack that. You'll crack that nut, man. You'll crack that one of these days.
It's that whole like old school James Bond, Moneypenny, these kind of like flashy videos that I seen this one time on an old school retro CD, TV, DVR, one of those things. I don't know what it was, but it was pretty cool. And like, I see myself as like a cool Moneypenny, and she's definitely James Bond.
What James Bond film did you watch where he orders dog food? Because I think you've seen like a knockoff version, like not a real version of James Bond.
I'm trying to make it so that you know it's the future, and I haven't really seen these things. I'm playing a character.
Sorry,
It's great.
and you love it.
Fuck's sake, no.
So yeah,
Call you no brain.
Null and void.
I would say that
Come
I would say that you failed, but in a good way, because you can kind of see that maybe she's got a bit of a smile. Now, Cutter and Null probably see it more as a smirk, but I think Byrne is getting the sense of like, nah, I'm defrosting her.
Yeah, and I'm encouraging him. I let him think he is defrosting. I'm like, you will crack that nut one of these days, mate. She's honestly, see it in her eyes. She wants you, mate. She wants you. You are in there. She's just playing hard to get. You're in. And I'm winding him up.
I'm gonna sit straight down next to her because I can feel that there's gonna be someone will get a gun out and start shooting her in a minute or something. So I'm gonna sit next to her and just say, yeah, like we're all here. What do you need us for?
What's the job? Yeah.
Well, this job is a little bit different from your usual fare. I don't know exactly everything that will be involved yet, which is why I've also contacted Sigil. He has, although he doesn't know the mission yet, he has agreed to accompany you if you should choose to take him along with you, because you understand there's only so much pay, and that pay will be split 4 ways if he accompanies you.
Will we have need of a decker?
Well, I don't know.
Oh.
That's why I contacted him.
That means yes. That's what Noel will say. That means yes.
And Sigil actually speaks, and his voice is... Sigil is smarmy, is the best way to put it. So he's an elf. Elves think very highly of themselves. In general. I mean, obviously, they're not a monolith, but he clearly has money. You get the sense from having interacted with Sigil before that he's only a Shadowrunner for fun. Like, he doesn't need to be.
He's independently wealthy.
Yeah, like he's doing this for the thrill, is the sense you've gotten from him before.
The elves are smarmy across 95% of all lores. I see the elves as smarmy, mate.
So at first he says a few words in Sperethiel, which is strangely in Shadowrun there are actually like racial languages
Okay.
that have reappeared somehow in the sixth world. But he says a few words in that which no one knows. The only one who knows a interesting language like that is Cutter, who's learned some Orzet, which is the Orcish and Trollish language. But then he says, "Oh, I'm sorry, I forgot none of you speak the mother tongue." Yes,
I speak the mother tongue. I speak Russian.
you speak Russian. Yeah, it's a different mother tongue.
Yeah, if you want to talk about mother tongues.
But he says, "You'll always need a decker. I mean, think of the world we live in."
So yeah, also, if I know this Orzish, the Orcish and Trollish language, I'm going to be giving Burn like some phrases and tell me like, oh, this is like Italian to them. You just say this and she'll be melting in your arms. But it's like something really bad, like I like big square bitches or something.
So, are you doing this right now?
No, just over the years and over the months of this whole
Okay,
relationship,
fair enough.
I've been winding them up like.
Because that might have gotten a response from her, is all I'm saying. But
Nah,
yeah,
not
so
right
you
now.
have given him some tips before. Have you given him only like possibly good ones, or are you messing with him?
Not messing with them, 100%.
Oh, so you're giving him like awful
Like
things to
bullshit
say
ones,
to her.
yeah. I'm telling him to tell her like her big feet look great today and stuff like that.
Wow. Okay. So,
One thing that you don't know about Burn, though, is because Burn is a mage, he knows the power of words, so won't use them unless he understands them.
oh, that's
So
fair.
you just telling him that the word does something, don't mean he's going to use it.
Well, Burn
So
also,
he just lets you.
it might be important for you to know, knows the value of money, because being a mage in this world is not cheap. Like finding someone who can teach you like a new spell or something like that is hard enough, but it's also not cheap. Like generally to learn a new spell, you're paying anywhere from 5 to 15 grand to get tutelage from another, mystical person. Which is why you're largely destitute, because you've spent all of your money that you've earned over the years
Learning
trying
what he
to
knows.
improve your power. Okay, so she, says, again, it's up to you whether or not you work with Sigil, and Sigil makes it clear, I should say, that he's not going to be offended should you choose to roll without his services.
We don't care if this bougie elf's offended anyway. He can be offended if he wants. Fucking
That's
hell.
fair, yeah.
I'll be nice to him. I think it'll be helpful. Plus, we might be able to. Maybe I can persuade him to just do it for like.
Well, that's
fine.
big.
crack of it for the because like
the
you said,
crack,
he
aye.
maybe like solving a puzzles.
He doesn't
So,
he
I'd be
doesn't
like-
need the money. He does just this for fun, so he doesn't need paid. We can still just go three ways, and he could just come along for the fun then.
Yeah,
Mr.
so
Elf.
we have to. Yeah. Maybe.
Well, that might be a deal you want to try and make with him on the side after you
Yeah.
decide. But she's very clear that she doesn't want to describe the mission until you've decided whether or not you want him to come along.
Oh, I suppose, yeah.
I vote yes, but I'll do whatever the other two.
I vote yes.
Yeah, we'll get
Okay,
him
so
along.
we got 2 for yes.
This
Cutter's
is
fine
the-
with it.
Democracy.
Okay.
Cutter, you don't get a vote, you're an orc.
Wow.
Yes, I love the racism. Let's go.
So yeah, she says very well. I've been.
The humans have agreed.
The humans have agreed.
She
I'm
says
like,
I've
fuck
been
you, gotta screw you
tasked.
guys. Swirling a knife.
I've been tasked with finding a group that can look into a missing person. Her name is Miranda. She's the daughter of a very influential person. That's all I'm at liberty to say. But in addition to being influential, this person has considerable wealth, and they are willing to pay to have her found and retrieved if necessary.
How much is it paying?
I am I'm told to offer you 30,000 new yen.
Sweet. Each?
No.
She's like, oh, sorry, my headset went. 30,000 each, right? I'm just writing it down.
So 10,000 each.
It's 30,000 total. Now, you know from past experience, I'll just tell you, from past experience that bargaining is a thing. Fixers and Johnsons are not always, let me put it this way. If she were given a line of money by the party that's looking for this person, say, I'm just making this up, I'm not saying that's what it is, but if she were given like 100,000 new yen, she might try to hire a group to do it for 50 so that she can pocket the other 50, right?
Yeah.
So there is potentially some bargaining room there if anyone would like to try.
Martin, you're the face. What do you think? You want to try and get some more money out of this?
I reckon we can at least, say, maybe we'll, we need some equipment, and then we can corner to get, a bit more money for equipment.
Tell them that we were expecting 10k each for a job today. That's what we came out for today. But if we're going to need a cutter, then we're going to need 40k because she's going to want 10k as well. So I think we should go for 40k so we can still all get 10k each.
I think we should go for
not cutter, decker. Cutter's my name, decker.
I think we should go for 50k because then we can work our way into the middle.
Aye.
And get the 40k that we want.
Okay.
And I say this all out loud in front of her because
if you're saying it out loud, she turns and looks at Byrne and says, "Oh, are you going to do the negotiations then?"
I can't speak. I can only make spells and magic with my hands, and maybe sometime when you're clocked off, we can make some different magic, but
Well, maybe that's a conversation we can have another time.
I told you, you're fucking in, mate. You're in.
So she turns back to Null. Is this something you want to discuss?
Well, I mean, yeah, it does seem a bit cheap. So yeah, I think we'll have to at least request a little bit more money just for, getting out of bed and stuff, coming here, putting oil in my bike or electric, I don't know. All this stuff costs money. So yeah, and obviously now we're taking Sigil with us. So yeah, I think 50 would be a reasonable price for us to be aiming for.
Okay. So go ahead and make a talk roll with charisma.
Okay.
I love not being the face of the party, if I'm honest. I love it when this is someone else's responsibility.
I mean, I think mine's kind of a thief, but yeah, she's got some social skills, yeah. Okay.
Cat burner.
She's not got any skills,
it's the exact same as last time.
It is.
It's the exact same.
Oh.
Nice.
So,
yeah.
She says, I mean, I understand where you're coming from, but you must understand that the service I provide also requires some overhead and such. I will tell you what. Since you have agreed to employ the services of Sigil, I will increase your discretionary fund by another 10,000.
Sweet.
That way you can split the amount evenly between you.
Nice work.
Hear that, Cutter? You're getting 5 whole K.
Shut up, you. I'll cut you. I know how I can count. I'm not stupid just because I'm ugly. I can count. I still went to school. I might have got fucking bullied, but I still went to school. I showed up through the bullying. That's why I'm smarter and tougher than you.
At least you got to go to school.
So
You never even went to school and you still got bullied. You fucking did do well, eh?
I just got
She
bullied
pulls
by the
out-
street and the other orphan.
Yeah, that's true. So she pulls out of her coat a small device that you all recognize as a holo projector. So holographs are common in this world. In fact, a lot of advertisements that you see on the street are holographic advertisements. They're not super high quality holographs. They're not going to fool anybody, but they are relatively common and relatively small. And so she places this device on the table and hits a button on it, and you see a picture of the person, or rather a holographic representation of the person that you're looking for.
This is Miranda.
Her name is Miranda.
Is she an elf? She's quite a babe.
She is
like.
an elf, yes.
Who's woofing at her? Is that you, Chris?
It's,
She's a bit of a babe, like.
I seen this in a holotape DVD VR before.
Was that one of the top shelf ones? Was it?
Transformers? Foxy Megan, I think they called her.
Next to that James
I
Bond,
love that
James Bond thing that you watch, yeah.
I love that Byrne is obsessed with old media, and like, because that's all he can afford. He just goes through scrapyards and tries to find old players and old media.
I love it as well. Actually.
It's also a play on my name, Byrne. Like I burn CDs.
Bunch DVDs.
Yeah.
I like
so
it.
you probably have like some like actual CD players and stuff like that at wherever you're staying, and it's largely worthless to everyone else, but you're enjoying it for yourself. I love that.
He's watching Back to the Future and that.
My apartment is literally the server for the Matrix LimeWire. So literally it's just like the dark downloads and the viruses. Sure. I'm pretty sure that it's got a load of that HMVV virus in it. So
it probably doesn't have that. Gosh, I hope not. Your apartment would be cordoned off. So she shows you this projection of this woman and gives you her name, Miranda, and says, that's all I have.
No suspected location, no known friends and people that she's like we should go and talk to. Like, no, she was at such and such a party and she'd never been seen since. Nothing. You've not got nothing for us.
Hey,
well, no, I'm not going to do your job for you.
Okay.
She said that she's from a famous family. I reckon
she did say that.
Find out.
Yeah, we could probably
find out quite quickly.
Well, she didn't say famous, to be clear. She did say influential.
Oh, no, she said influential, so it could be business. It might not be a famous person. It could be just a business mogul or something.
Hey, I ain't seen very many business moguls with daughters that look like that, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, she's like a celebrity, babe. She's like, yeah.
Can I get Sigil to trace her image?
Yeah, reverse Google images on her tattoo. We'll work out who she is from the tattoo, yeah.
Well, find out the face first, but yeah, I'm pretty sure you can do some stuff with the image, right? And the name.
Yeah, he could potentially. You all have contacts as well. So before we get into that kind of stuff, after she puts the holograph down and activates the device, she stands up and she kind of nudges Sigil because she's going to get out on his side. So I don't know if anybody packed in next to Sigil.
No, I was on her other side.
Right.
No,
I'm dancing because I've had a few drinks. I'm dancing around.
It It was you, me, and Johnson. So I had the two women either side of me, so that I looked really cool.
Oh, okay. So you probably scooched in and like almost clambered over Sigil to get to her.
Mm-hmm. Sit next to two women.
So yeah, rather than going through you though, she will then kind of nudge Null and be like, "If you'll excuse me."
Does she not just like does she not just rip the table up with her strength and just walk
So
off?
you feel like she could.
She's trying
Right?
to
Like,
yeah,
her nudge is more forceful than anything that you've ever felt. It's very well known that trolls are, stronger, commensurate with their size, much like orcs are generally stronger than human beings.
Passionate lovers, so someone better watch out.
Yeah, someone might get broken.
Yep, or burned.
So yeah, she says, "Well, I'll leave you to it. The table has an open tab that I'll cover, but please don't go crazy." And she looks at Cutter.
Cutter's got a drink in each hand.
He's not even sitting. He's just kind of
No, he's up dancing
nearby.
now, mate. He's half a bottle in, looking at the pretty girls. He's in the club.
So, if that's what you're doing, is you look around, you notice, maybe you didn't take a close look before, but you notice that there is a larger concentration of human and elven people in this particular club. In fact, your contact is the only troll that you've seen. There wasn't even a troll bouncer on the door, which is a pretty common job for a lot of trolls.
Security.
Yeah, security. The bouncers outside this particular club just look human. You also don't really see. Maybe there's an orc over there, but you do notice that some people are looking at you though now that you're up and kind of dancing with two drinks.
Well,
Not in a menacing way.
people have been staring at me my whole life. For once,
That's true.
I've got this sake flowing in me, and I've got that Dutch courage, and I'm actually feeling good. And I think these people are looking at me because I'm a great dancer. I don't realise they're looking at me because I'm a freak and an orc.
Awesome.
I think they're looking at me because I'm such a great dancer. So I'm loving life. I don't give a fuck about these haters.
How are you dressed? Because Cutter can pretty much dress however he wants because he has dermal armor.
Dressed in like ripped jeans and like a leather waistcoat with no shirt, like he's like a proper gangster thug.
Okay.
Yeah, with like a padlock on a chain and stuff.
Oh, and I guess I should have asked, did you all come strapped to the club? Like, does Cutter have his weapons?
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
Yeah.
so interestingly enough, when you were allowed into the club, those weapons were not taken from you.
Oh, okay. So I'm dancing with a shotgun on my back. It's just got on a strap. I guess, 'cause I've got a
Wherever you
shotgun.
have it, yeah, like strapped or slung, yeah.
Shotgun swinging, drinks splashing people.
I left my pistol under the seat of Cutter's car.
Oh, okay. Well, don't worry,
Yeah.
Cutter also has a pistol if you need one. Cutter's loaded for bear.
I'm a samurai.
So yeah, she stands up and says, "I'll leave you to it. You all know how to contact me once the job is complete." And she heads out, and you can see people just almost stumbling out of her way. Because again, keep in mind, she's probably a good half a meter, if not more, taller than most of the people in here. Well, probably a good meter, right? Trolls are like 2.5 meters tall.
And Burns watching the ass as she leaves.
It's a pretty tight ass for a troll, if we're honest. Like,
I think everyone's kind of has to be subjected with it because it is like eye level.
Yeah.
She's 2 meters tall, so her waist is probably about most people's head height.
and I mean, she is poured into her designer suit, and she has a figure, to be fair, you've not seen on a troll before.
Oh, she
Trolls are
definitely
usually quite bulky.
Chris, if anyone's
She's
going to
not
bang a
worth
troll,
it.
it's going to be you, like.
She's had work done. She's had work done. That's
So
all.
It's
plastic.
certainly possible. Body
That's all
sculpts are not uncommon.
Yeah, that's not. Yeah, I'm just saying it might all. When
She's
you
got
stick
that-
something in.
She's got that
If you stick
CBL,
something
that
in, it'll
cyber
fall
butt
out.
lift, eh? The
Oh,
CBL.
actually,
Yeah.
you know what? You know who can tell if she's had work done?
Sigil?
Burn. If you
Oh.
look at your focuses, your foci,
Do it.
that
See,
last
she's a real.
one there.
She might be a male troll. She might have had it all done. You don't know.
Yeah. Is
Yeah.
she a Bangkok lady troll?
Well, actually,
Yeah.
interestingly enough, the cybernetic and the bio organic kind of mods that can be done in this future, you wouldn't be able to tell if they paid enough.
She
Oh,
might have
Chris,
a-
be
she might-
careful.
Completely
might have an-
functional.
She might have an electronic robot penis for you for extra
It
fun.
would be a real one.
Guys,
Or a real
guys.
one. What?
It's 2077. You know,
Well,
this is
No, it's 2056.
2056. But yeah.
We're not playing
it's
Fallout or Cyberpunk.
2056.
You're getting your worlds mixed up.
Is it? Is it? Are you sure? Because
It's
But yeah, so
this
Burn
is a more
has
progressive place. We've even started accepting their kind, and I point to Cutter.
yeah. So Burn has Soul Sight, which allows you to see living non-plant creatures even in complete darkness, and you can identify specific cyber they have implanted.
Oh, has she got a CBL?
You can
or not?
also identify any health problems they may have, sense whether or not they are planning immediate violence.
you can
Because
see
you
if she's
kind
got.
of sense their mood.
You can see if she's got any STDs before. That's very helpful.
You can, yeah.
That's
She has no
handy,
STDs.
Yeah, that's handy.
Yay, she's clean. He or she is clean.
She has extensive cybernetics.
Told you. A woman can always tell when another woman's had stuff done.
No, I'm sensing a little bit of
A little bit of
bitterness
jealousy.
here
A little
and
bit of the green
envy.
monster.
Height
Aye, the
jealousy.
green-eyed monster. Yeah.
I mean, just trying to be helpful, so you know.
I mean, do you want
What?
a drink?
What? No, don't. Your charms don't work on me. I just don't want you to.
I'm not trying to charm you. It's on her tab. Chill out.
Boo.
I'm gonna
It's
slowly
saying
drink.
that Cutter has just fell and collapsed on the ground in a drunken stupor.
No, I've got constitution, mate. I'm a street samurai. I can take a drink, like.
Have you continued? That's a good point. Have you continued to drink this whole time?
Nah, not too much, because I want to go out on a job later. I don't want to spend our first session just plastered drunk. little bit. I can take it. I'm a big orc. I've got the constitution of a
Tell you
orc
what.
member.
Why don't you give me a physical save?
Okay,
You can add 2 to the save.
that sounds fair. Physical save. +2. Easy peasy.
Yeah, you're fine.
Oh, I want him to vomit on himself. Oh, fine.
Vomit on you.
So I do want to use Soul Sight, but not at the for the reason of searching her. It's more to do with like the room and the other people, because like you said, there is a distinct like lack of other people, and they're all like kind of just staring at Cutter, and like I want to see if anyone has any kind of ill intent in this room.
They call me Cutter because I cut these
So-
shapes, baby.
So generally, that's a good use. So generally, this is something that you would use a main action to do, and it would be focused on one person. But if you want to if you guys are going to be sitting at the booth for a while, and you have been sitting there for a while, and this is not really an ability you turn on and off, you just declare you want to use it. So once you notice the attention and you kind of look over the room, after a few minutes, you get the sense that no, it's largely, you don't get any intent of violence from anyone, although there might be a couple of flares here and there of what you've, let's be honest, you've easily, in spending time with Cutter, you've easily begun to be able to recognize that as, oh, that person's racist. Oh, that person. Like, people who are just clearly, like, not okay, right? And you've seen the same thing before in the boys that used to bully you in the orphanage, right? Not necessarily racism, but and not that they are out to hurt you horribly, but they don't like you. And that sense is just there. So you can see a couple of pockets of that, but nothing, it's not like it's blinding or anything. By and large, most people here are just enjoying themselves. And it's probably kind of just the cursory glance of like, oh, we don't normally see his kind in here, right? Like, not like negative.
My kind,
just...
my kind.
Yeah.
I love the racism already. It's great.
Well, I mean, nobody. Again, you were not given any trouble at the door. Now, sure, that could have had something to do with, you know, the doorman being told by the fixer that you were coming, but also like, she's a troll, and nobody really seemed too terribly negative towards her. It's just that this particular district is still largely human, elven, maybe a few dwarves here and there. Unfortunately, in St. Louis and well, Gateway, but St. Louis has for a long time been a largely segregated city, and that segregation continues into the future with the different metatypes. So the place where you find the majority of the trolls and orcs in Gateway are on the other side of the bridge, on the other side of the river.
Just
right
like in real life with
Deadlands.
minorities. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. It just follows real life.
Yeah.
The humans become the white
But yeah,
people,
nobody
races
seems
become
like
the
they're
minorities.
itching to start anything.
I get it. I'm a racial minority and you're all fucking racists. I get it.
Hey,
Wow.
so what Cutter's cutting some shapes.
Call me
No,
Cutter. Cut these shapes, baby.
Should we maybe have a look around the room while Sanji or was it Sanji? Sigil. While Sigil does his online research, should we maybe coast the room a bit, see if we can get a bit more info on
Miranda.
Miranda?
I presume
So-
we've got to do it stealth. I presume with discretion, though, right? I can't remember
Yeah.
if she told. We're not like just like, have you seen this person?
You weren't told anything, just that she needs to be
Oh.
found and returned.
Oh, okay. So we could literally just say,
Yeah,
walk around holding up a picture. Have you seen this girl? Have you seen this girl? Have you seen this girl?
Right.
I was just gonna go around and ask if anyone had seen my girl Miranda. I was partying here
Act
with
like
her
you
the
know
other
her.
night.
Okay. Also, don't. Again, there's a reason why you have contacts. Don't be afraid if you want to look at your contacts under journal and see if.
Oh
there's
yeah,
anybody
no,
you think
I
you might
know who
call.
I'm gonna talk to
Okay, fair
after.
enough.
I know a cop. I know a dirty cop, so I can maybe talk to them. That's a contact I've got that might be worth talking to in a lot of situations.
can I
But yeah,
talk
if you want to work this room to see if Miranda has been here, you certainly can. That would be so just kind of a general working of the room and trying to get close to people and talk to them. That would be a connect roll. And again, you don't have connect, but you can roll it untrained. And you know what? I'm going to give you +2 because of the kind of just positive club feels. Like people have been drinking.
It's the vibes, because the vibes are so good, because my dance moves are so good, Brian. Yes, that's
Yes,
exactly what I was thinking.
Because the orcs' dance moves are so good.
The vibes are right. Look at that. Like 6.
Okay, so an 8 total. Yeah, you give me a second to think about it, but yeah, you'll find somebody you can talk to. What does Cutter and Null want to do?
Shapes.
And what are you asking Sigil to do?
Sigil, I think, should be seeing if he can find the image anywhere online of this person, so he can get us more information about her.
Oh wait, Cutter's dancing.
Like-
is Cutter on the dance floor dancing?
I'm on the dance floor, mate.
Has he
Yeah,
moved
I'm
out to the
definitely on
dance
the
floor?
dance
Okay.
floor.
And Burns just kind of mingling. Actually, while we're in this kind of just discovery scene, we might as well go back to a fun background as opposed to just the map.
Yeah. I love Foundry, how I can keep the pictures of people up and I can pop them back up and move
Yeah.
them around and
Yeah, and if you want me to pop any more pictures up, just let me know. So, Cutter's dancing. He's not really engaging with anybody, which is fine. What was Null doing again? I'm sorry.
I was going to talk to Sigil about trying to find any information
right.
about Miranda, and then maybe
he's very intent on listening to you. What would you like him like? Obviously, I'm gonna have him be semi-autonomous, but like, is there anything in specific you're looking for from him?
Well, just like like age, last name. I don't know. Does she have a job? Like
sure.
Basic information, and then go from there.
Okay. And then what do you, while he's looking into all that stuff, are you going to contact anyone or do anything? Is there anything you want to do?
Yeah, I'm going to contact my information broker, Synth, who is a club owner as well, and then maybe see what she knows. I think it's a female, Synth. Sierra, Yep, Synth, yeah.
I was going to do one thing, Brian, so I can do a quick thing and then continue dancing, if that's all right.
Yeah.
So I've got one contact. I'm going to just take a photo of the holograph when we see it, and I'm going to send that over to my crooked cop mate and just be like, you know this girl Miranda? And just a text message.
You have a smartphone, so you can actually just transfer the file, essentially.
Okay.
Like, you don't need... Well, maybe you do. Maybe Cutter does that, where he literally just takes a picture of the hologram
and then takes
with his smartphone.
Yeah.
Rather than connect his smartphone to the holographic device and transfer the file, you literally take a picture.
I'm no decker. I don't know the technology. I just take a photo of the hologram with my photo and then send it over. Like...
So, Sigil is just looking at you with just a look of utter bemusement as you come back to the table and pull out your smartphone and take a picture of the hologram. And he doesn't say anything. He's not going to try to tell you what to do. He's worked with you before. He doesn't want to invoke your ire. He's seen you fight. He's just smiling with just this you poor soul looking smile on his face.
I look like an 8-year-old
which you might not even
using
notice.
A PC.
Yeah. So yeah, you take the picture, you send it to your contact. Excellent. What do you tell your dirty cop contact?
It's just a picture of her, and it just says, "Do you know this girl Miranda?"
Okay. So for your clarity, your contact, if I recall correctly, is Lone Star, correct?
It is Lone Star Officer, Dirty Cop Acquaintance.
So there are essentially two police forces that function in Gateway. There is Lone Star, which functions, if you look at the map, in the southern part of Gateway, which is actually part of the UCAS, which is part of the CAS, which is the Confederated American States. The part of Gateway that you're currently in, north of that kind of barrier wall or border, is the UCAS, which is the United Canadian American States. Because what was left of the United States did split as everything kind of fall apart and went crazy. So St. Louis's or Gateway is right on this border, and so Lone Star operates in the southern part, and the other force is Knight Errant, which functions in the northern part, and Knight Errant is actually run by a corporation. Lone Star is also essentially a corporation. Like, police services are paid for. They're not just part of being in a city anymore. Like, people pay for these services. Now, the good news is your cop, although, dirty in that he will take money and he will, work with people like you to make his own life better by taking funds.
My kind again, eh?
Right. No, people like you as in Shadowrunners, as in criminals, that kind. But he is still a Lone Star officer, and so he may have some information for you. You send him the message. he sends a message almost instantly right back to you, and he's like, "What's it worth?"
What would be a good like cop payoff if I'm getting 10k of this? What do I offer him? 500?
For just so you just asked, do you know her?
Yeah, I've just asked you know her, so I'm not gonna see. Let's see what kind of let's see what you know about her first. I'm going to say
Okay,
that back
that's
to
fair.
him then. Let's see what
So
you know
we'll get
about her
back to
first.
that then. Now, as far as Null speaking to the club owner,
Yep.
assuming you take the hologram,
Yeah, I think pretty much they've given it to me anyway. Me or Sigil.
right? So, she, she's an acquaintance of yours. How do you get her attention? Do you just ask for her at the bar, or?
Yeah, I mean, like, I'm pretty smooth about it. I just feel like, what's Synth up to? She got any free time?
Okay.
So, like, one of the bar
Yeah. And so it doesn't take long for her to come out. She doesn't invite you back to the offices, but she comes out and meets you at the bar. Hey, no, what's going on?
Yeah,
Good
she's
to
like,
see
no,
you.
not much. Yeah, she's like, yeah, I'm just, trying to find an old friend. Do you think you'll be able to help? Maybe check some of the club footage? Does she just have one club, or does she, like, have clubs?
Oh, no, this is her club. Like, this, she
Okay.
doesn't, yeah, she's not like a
Okay.
huge player,
Mm-hmm.
but it is a pretty popular club. So,
Okay. Well, I will flash her the picture and just say, maybe, yeah, if you've seen this person, maybe I could do you a favor or something.
she says, an old friend, huh? That's interesting.
Yeah.
And
Old friends.
so as you're talking to her about your old friend, we'll cut over to Chris, who's talking to someone about Miranda. And uh, the person that you just randomly stumbled on and asked about Miranda, again, you don't have the hologram, but apparently the name was enough. And maybe, I don't know, did you give a description? Like hot elf woman? Something like
Hot
that?
elf woman, side parting to the back,
Megan
you know,
Fox lookalike.
always a good vibe. Foxy Megan.
So the person's like, oh, that ancient one? So then we cut back to Cutter, and you get a text back from your cop friend. Is like, wait, you don't know who this is?
Educate me. I'll text back in between dance moves.
This is one of the elves from the family that claims to be thousands of years old.
Oh. And I know about that. I've heard of this family, right?
Yeah, you would have heard, like, you don't know about the family specifically, but you know that there are people who claim that magic has been in the world before, and then it just went dormant. And there are people that have told you all your life, like strong, proud orcs who are like, orcs have always been around, and we've always been strong, and you don't have a disease, you're an orc, it's a power, it's a strength, right?
Well, no, I've not grown up around that. I've obviously grown up around humans, and I've got a lot of self-esteem issues, and I think I've got inferiority complex and all this shit.
Okay, that's fair.
I'm only just young, and I'm only just learning and discovering myself that orcs are actually the superior race. I'm only just discovering that just now.
Gotcha. But yeah, so then flipping over to Null with your contact, she says, yeah, this is one of the old ones. How long have you known her?
I mean, no, in like the, the loosest sense. No, find. You know me,
So-
I'm always losing people.
Yeah, you see her. Yeah, you see her putting two and two together. It's like, oh, you're on a job.
I mean, I'm always on a job, so,
No,
it's
that's
nothing
fair.
new.
Yeah, I mean, she's from that family that claims to be super old and have been around forever. I don't know what else to tell you. I mean, she's been in the club a few times, but She's
When was
one
she
of the
last?
more.
When was she last in the club?
Oh, well, the last time I saw her was probably a couple of weeks ago. She was here with her brother.
Okay.
And Dominic is his name.
Okay.
They don't share their
Dominic.
family name for some reason. They always use a clan name. It's something that I can't even pronounce in their Elvish, made up Elvish language. But well, hang on. Actually, I need to double check. Maybe because she's an elf, isn't she? Let me double check my notes. Oh yeah, Sierra's an elf. I forgot about that. So, yeah, she's like, so, I mean, you know that there are some of us that think that we're hoity-toity. I mean, I'm not a part of that family. I'm not a part of that clan, but I've seen her around. Yeah.
And what about Dominic? Has he been here more recently than that?
No, I haven't seen him since then either.
Hmm.
I think, if I recall correctly, I think Dom said something about slumming it in Sage.
What's Sarge? Is that like a district or a club or a...
So it is a
something else?
district. If you look at the map, it's
Okay.
on the right-hand side of the map near the
It's in
bottom.
the Deadlands. It's the south.
Well,
of
it's
the
outside the
Deadlands.
Deadlands. So there's the wall around the Cahokia Deadlands, the Plague Wall,
Oh, okay.
and it's kind of butted up right against that Plague Wall. And you all would have seen the Plague Wall. It is towering, right? It's at least 50 or 60 meters tall of just stacked everything that people could find to wall this place in. You've never heard of anybody getting through the wall or coming back from the other side. That doesn't mean it doesn't happen. There probably are smugglers that know ways through the wall. Because you do know that there are people still alive on the other side, right? Like drone footage shows that there are people living over there. But the fear of the vampiric virus is pretty potent, and people try to avoid it as much as they can. Unfortunately, the two barons, the Sage barons and the old East St. Louis barons, that's just where they are. And I mean, people can't go anyplace else. So yeah, Sage is also known as being a red light district. Has been for hundreds of years. And so somebody looking for excitement might go there. You also all would know that Sage is heavily populated by orcs and trolls. Some dwarves,
Because it's the slums. Yeah,
some
yeah.
humans. Yep.
Can I be crafty and to reward Sierra? Can I be like, Sierra, I mean, it's not like we're trying to cook the books or anything, but my friend said that we could kind of enjoy ourselves a bit here within reason. How about we don't enjoy ourselves and you just say we did and you can take that money?
Oh, well, I mean, I'll be honest, Null. If I knew you were here, I probably would have given you a line anyway. But yeah, I would appreciate it if you controlled your friends. Obviously, Sigil has not been an issue, but I'm concerned about the orc.
It's fine. Just give him, just put water in some beer bottles and then pretend that he's drinking, and you can enjoy the free money.
Okay, I'll do that. Now, finally, before we take a short break, I did want to get back to Chris and his conversation. So the person that you found, they're like, yeah, one of those ancient elves. Like, I've seen her around here, but I don't know what are you looking for?
Yeah, I was like here partying last week. She seemed like a pretty cool chick, but she didn't seem ancient to me. That kind of blows my mind that you would say that.
Oh yeah, I heard somebody say she was like 1,500 years old.
Oh yeah, that's really weird. And when was that you last seen her? Was it last week or?
No, it was a couple of weeks ago was the last time I was here and I saw her. I know she was here with her brother and kind of gives you the same story that Null heard. The only additional bit of information that you get from them is like, oh yeah, I know. I hope they're okay though. I know when they left, I saw some Billikens following them.
Billikens?
Oh yeah, Billikens. They're a gang. They're from Sajay.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I hope so too. I hope she's okay. Maybe I'll be able to get her number off someone else. Thanks for all the info that you gave me, though.
Yeah, no trouble at all. So, I think that we'll take a short break. We'll come back. We'll talk about if Sigil found anything, and then we will go on from there.
Nice.
Oh, sorry. I was just realized I wasn't in Chris's Twitch anymore because I
That's alright.
moved away from it. No, I want to be in it.
There
So,
must be there.
when we left off, you all had gotten some information. Would you like to kind of meet back up at the booth and talk about where you're at and what you're thinking
Yeah.
as Sigil completes his research?
Yeah.
Yeah. And I would assume Sigil, being a elf, would probably know a bit about
The old ones.
them claiming to be elders, and you know.
Yeah, does he
Well,
buy
when
into
you
that?
sit down, if you guys are going to meet back at the booth and sit down to discuss this, the first thing you notice is that Sigil is completely oblivious to anything that you're doing or talking about right now. His fingers are flying on his deck, and his eyes are kind of doing the rapid eye movement thing of somebody who's dreaming. But he looks like he's probably deep in a hack of some kind.
Okay, well, I'll sit down. 'Cause I'll need a rest after all the dancing. And I'll tell them that I sent a message to my Dirty Cop friend, and apparently there's some famous family, the old ones, these elves that think they're the original elves or something. And he just kind of laughed at me like that because I didn't know who she was. Apparently they're very famous.
Yeah, last I heard, they were here, and they got followed by a group from the Sugid
Ajay.
Doge, Barons.
Soje, the Dodgy Barons. So yeah, she was here with her brother. I don't know if you got anything more from that.
Billikens.
I got the same. Obviously, his name's Dominic, and the red light district is the area.
Dominic.
Who's Dominic the brother?
Yep.
Yeah.
And
Well,
last
that's
time,
what everybody's been calling him.
yeah, and last time she was here, she was with the brother.
Uh-huh.
A couple of weeks ago it was.
So we've got a slight lead.
Got a lead. She's been here a couple of weeks ago. Should we go to the Soje Barons? Should we go talk to people there? No, that's where the gang's from, isn't it? The gang that was following them.
So,
No,
does
Dominic,
anybody-
Dominic said they said last time Dominic was going to lay low or slum it in Sajay, right?
Oh, he was going
Yep.
there to lay low then.
So, yeah.
Okay.
I mean, she's there, but I guess they're together a lot.
Maybe we'll try and speak to the brother if we can't find her. Maybe find the brother.
Before
So-
we do that, I would like to speak to my friend Aminal. Aminai? Aminai? Is
hang on, I'm
And-
looking.
the enemy?
Smuggler.
It's your friend, Chris. Pick one and
Oh,
stick
Imani.
with it.
Yeah.
Imani.
Imani.
Dyslexia doesn't like words that have loads of vowels.
So maybe unsurprisingly, considering how you've reacted to Johnson, Imani is also female and is also a troll
Oh, here you go.
that you know.
Oh,
So
aye.
I think Byrne has a type.
Yeah, clearly, yeah.
Hey,
Likes that
He likes
muscle
to-
mummy, yeah.
likes the thicker ladies. Nice.
So yeah, you gonna use go outside and use a public kiosk, or do you want to ask to use Cutter's phone, or?
I'm gonna ask to use one of the guys' phone and
You can use
then
my
have it
phone.
as like. Surely there'll be like a secret conference mode thing where we can all join in.
So that is possible with the right cyberware and enough equipment, none of which any of you have.
Oh, okay. No worries.
You're not quite to that level of an operator squad yet.
I mean, I guess I could
Um,
ring someone for you and then talk on your behalf if the phone's too difficult.
Well, no, I think he was just trying to loop everybody into the
Yeah.
conversation.
Oh no, I was just messing with Chris. It's like, if you can't use the phone, I'll call for you. Okay.
So, Cutter's phone is capable of well, in
Three-way calling.
if anybody else doesn't realize this, Null would. Most smartphones are capable of like speakerphone, right?
Mhm.
Essentially.
Yeah.
And the booths are sound dampened enough that you should be able, if you wanted everybody to
have
be
a private
involved in the call, you
conversation
could
with
do
all
that.
of us.
Yeah.
Right, okay.
Oh, yeah.
So I just have to press one button on his phone and be like, there
Right.
you go. That's like
Yeah.
that's like 100 credits, please, for like figuring out how to use your phone.
Cutter, make sure that you pay that debt for the 100 credits there, you know? For not
So,
knowing
yeah,
how to use your phone.
Imani comes on screen, and Cutter's phone is a basic smartphone, so it doesn't have TRID holographic displays, but it has a screen. And she answers, she's like, "Why am I looking at the ceiling?"
Oops. Right it.
And you gotta say you're on speakerphone. It's rude if you don't.
You're on speakerphone.
You gotta say you're on speaker.
Hey, Imani, it's me. You're on speaker, by the way. Hey,
Oh.
this
Hey,
isn't
Burn.
this ain't a drunken call, by the way. This ain't a booty call. This is work.
Oh.
So, yeah, but
She sounds
Maybe-
disappointed.
maybe if it goes well and I get off early tonight, we'll see what happens.
I fixed the bed in the back of my camper.
That's what Noel says.
That's good. I'm glad to know that. Speaking of beds, you know the Sujit area, don't you?
Soje, yeah.
Sujit
I mean-
area.
I know my way around, sure.
By any chance, do you know about a Dominic that's moved in? Some brother. They've been saying that they're an elder elf.
The only elves I've seen in Saje recently have been dead.
Oh. Do you know male, female, anything more about the dead elves?
I mean, Burn, it's just a phrase. Saje is not a place for elves to come hang out. Like, do you know some elf that's thinking of coming out here? I mean, he'll be in danger.
That's what I thought. So I thought I would give you a call because maybe they wanted to get out and be safe. So like I know that you're, pretty good at that with your job and all that. But
I mean, I smuggle goods, not people, but
hey, where do we draw the line? Sometimes people are goods, like you.
Oh, Chris.
well, I haven't heard of any elves being in Saje, but I could ask some of my contacts in the Billikens to see if they.
I don't think the
'Cause-
Billikens are going to be a good idea to ask, because they followed them out of this club. But maybe could you?
Them? I thought you were talking about a guy.
Well, yeah. What was a guy? A guy. He left the club with someone else, so that's why I wanted to find Dominic, see if I could maybe find out more. But maybe instead of you getting mixed up, do you think you could maybe hook me up with being able to talk to the Billikens in some way, like get a little meeting or something? I don't know how that works.
Oh, Burn, you don't want me to do that. Like they're not any more positive towards. I mean, if I hate to say, but people like you than they are towards elves.
Do they like orcs?
Even less,
Well, I
probably.
mean, most of them are orcs
Oh,
or,
no,
or
yeah.
trolls.
That's right. Yeah.
Well, not most of them. All of them are orcs or trolls.
Yeah, they love me.
Well, if I could, well, here's my friend. I turn so that you're in frame.
I wave.
Look at
Hi, nice to meet you. Hi.
Oh,
I know.
aren't
I've heard
you a
so much
cutie?
about you.
Hey, stop looking at him in a snaggle tooth. But yeah, maybe he could go and like I could be like undercover or something. I don't know.
I mean, have you learned how to cast illusions and not told me? Because we could have some fun with that.
I'm still working on that, but I do have a face mask, and you know, unless they decided to take my face mask off, I think I'll be all right.
Well,
You know me, I'm
She mentions
Pretty
a paper
buff
bag
and
that you've got
strong.
lying about as well that you've used on some clothes.
I can't promise anything for you. But if you show up in Sage, it's not going to be hard to find some Billikens. They might as well be patrolling the streets from the way they handle things. And if you're in the company of your friend Orc, you might be okay. But I can't make promises.
Is it an orc gang, the Billikens?
Yeah. Orcs and trolls
Orcs and trolls, okay.
exclusively.
Exclusively orcs and trolls. Well, like racist,
Yeah.
like don't like the humans.
Yeah, and I was actually going to have anybody who wants to make a know check to know more about the Billikens, because it's not like they're hiding. Again,
don't
if you
have
don't
know.
have know, you could just roll untrained.
Yeah.
And for Cutter, I'll give you a +2 bonus because you are an orc.
Oof. I've got an 8 though with a +2.
That's
would
all
that
you need.
be wisdom?
Oh, sorry. No, that would be intelligence.
Oh, was I supposed to add intelligence to that?
I don't think you have. Oh, you have a negative, don't you? It's fine. Don't worry about it. So Burn succeeded. Null did.
Oh,
So Null has heard of the Billikens, but doesn't know a whole lot about them. Burn and Cutter, though, you're aware that the Billikens, they are a gang, obviously. Their colors are blue and silver, and you've seen their tags kind of encroaching on this side of the river in a few places. It's really this kind of just awful looking goblinoid kind of horrific face with a massive gaping maw and these wild looking eyes, and half of the face is silver and half of the face is blue. But you know that they are essentially, for lack of any better terms, a racially motivated gang. Like, they protect orcs and trolls, and they hate everybody else.
I like these guys.
Um,
I think we're going to get
So,
on
yeah.
well. I think we should just go seek these guys out. Honestly, they sound sound really nice, like a good bunch.
Yeah.
I quite like them.
Plus two humans who maybe not as much.
I bet. I just give them you're my pet humans. We give them that act, like you're my pet humans. You guys are my slaves. Like I'm taking back slavery for the superior race.
So as you're thinking about this, and as you're talking to Imani, why doesn't everybody give me a notice check? No bonuses.
What's that linked to?
Oh, sorry, with wisdom this time. Notice and wisdom. For just general awareness. Okay. So, again, this time Burn and Cutter, Null is maybe just a little bit too focused on the conversation with Imani, trying to figure things out. But Burn and Cutter, you notice something that you know enough to where it's concerning. You see smoke coming out of Sigil's neural jack that he has currently plugged into his cyber deck, and you can tell that he's like rigidly kind of paralyzed or trembling.
It's like, right, okay, so I'm gonna run over and unplug him.
Straight from the Matrix. Have you seen what happens when you unplug people in the Matrix?
It's not that Matrix.
I'm so happy that you decided to say that. So Null probably knows, and maybe as you watch Cutter do this, you might shout like, "No, don't!" But just jacking somebody out with no preparation, no other support, is sometimes more dangerous than whatever might be happening to them inside the Matrix. And it creates something called dump shock.
Well, I would know this because I use a lot of cybernetics. I'm not dumb in that.
Yeah, it's different
regard,
though.
So.
You're not a hacker. You've got like physical cyber. It's not the same thing.
All right,
you don't even have you don't have a neural jack. If you had a neural jack, maybe.
So I'm running over to stop on one of these to unplug on one of these guys.
So
you have to stop me.
You unplug him, which, to your credit, I will also tell you this, probably saves his hardware as well.
Okay.
But the minute you pull that plug out, his eyes go wide and you can see them kind of clear up. To be fair, his eyes are heavily chromed anyway, so it's not like you see pupils or anything. But you see his eyes go wide, and then he just kind of slumps over on the table.
He's breathing. I'll listen and see if he's breathing.
He is breathing, yes.
Okay. I just watched some hardcore porn and it was too much or something. We need to let him rest, I think.
So you do have some stuff that could help him if anybody wanted to, or you could just wait.
Is there like a medical aid for this? Is there?
So if anybody has a heal check, they could try to support him that way. You could also use. He's not dying, so you wouldn't use a trauma patch, but you could use a lurch dose, which can heal him.
Is he? So he has sustained some damage.
Yes.
Right.
You don't know how much because you know enough to where it's probably internal because of the nature of how that kind of cyberware works. But yeah.
So I have the healer foci. So healing comes naturally to me gifted. Prevented the cheek quick bleed out. So I have some basic medical supplies, and I also have a spell of healing.
So, for your reference, I wouldn't say this is probably bad enough to require a spell.
That's what I was thinking.
But if you wanted to just use, you could probably revive him. Because he's effectively unconscious. You could probably revive him with just a healing check, provided you succeed, which you probably will because you have healer. Or you could also restore some of his lost health, however many he has lost, if you use a lurch dose on him in addition to that.
Can I just try the heal first, and then if that doesn't work, then lurch the fuck out of him?
Yeah, you could do that.
I'm assuming that's
it's Lurch
heal
a
and
chemical.
intelligence.
So
Is Lurch a
it's
drug?
healing and... Sorry, what was that?
Is Lurch the name of a drug?
It is. Lurch is a drug that essentially is like a quick healing drug.
A stim pack.
Yes. So you don't have any, but just looking at look at burns so I can tell you what it does. Inventory. Lurch, emergency stimulant, heals 1d10 damage plus the physician's heal skill on application, adds 1 system strain. Each dose of Lurch after the first each day increases the required heal skill by 1. So technically with a heal skill, what is your heal skill for burn? 0, right? Yeah, it's 0. No, it's +1. So
+1.
technically, you could use 2 doses of Lurch on a person per day. But you can't use more than that because your heal skill's not high enough.
Yeah.
If that makes sense. Because each time you use it per person, the heal skill requirement goes up by 1. So
Plus
it starts at 0.
And all the skills start at -1 in this, don't they?
They do. And in fact, if you have a heal of untrained, you can't use Lurch at all. Like, you have to know how to apply it correctly. Null also has heal at 0, and Null can use Lurch on a specific person once per day. Because Null doesn't have a high enough skill to use it twice.
And I
If
can't
that
use
makes
it.
sense. And you can't use it at all. You can use a trauma patch, which doesn't require the heal skill.
And I have some.
And there are other drugs that don't require the heal skill, but there are some drugs that require it because you have to have some knowledge
Yeah.
to use it correctly.
Okay.
So at any rate, if you just want to try the heal skill by itself, which you can do, then go ahead and click on heal, select intelligence, and roll it. Okay. So yeah, with a 9, you're able to, with your basic understanding of healing, you're able to kind of return him to consciousness. He comes to, he's like, I'm okay, and he reaches back and he's like, did somebody jack me out?
Might have done. What do you mean, did I jack you off? No, I didn't jack you off, you pervert. What do you mean? Because I don't know what jack out means. I don't know these terms.
Right.
I'm like,
Did
no,
you
no one jacked
unplug
you
me?
off. It's not that kind of club. Oh, did I unplug you? Yeah, you were having a fit or something, man.
Oh man, I was just dealing with some ice, that's all. Ugh. Well, I mean, I guess it could have gone badly, and I did get something. So Imani's still on the phone. She's like, what is going on? Are you guys okay?
Yeah, Imani, look, it's just, that the orc guy has just jacked someone off in the middle of the club. Look, thanks for all the information that you gave me. I really appreciate you as always. I can't wait to see you again. And yeah, good news on the camper. And yeah, just don't call me, I'll call you, okay?
Okay.
And I hung up before she
Bard is a wizard fuckboy, isn't he?
I think he's a very good one. I'm just, Null's just rolling her eyes like, what the fuck? What the
I've been
fuck?
emotionally damaged my entire life.
Is that your
By
excuse?
larger certain racial women.
By big
Women.
muscle mommy troll women, yeah.
Yeah,
So,
I think
It's a complex we'll explore it further as we get into the game, alright?
It certainly is, mate. It certainly is.
So Sigil tells you he's okay, like he's a little burned, but he's fine. And he says, yeah, I wasn't able to get much on her. I mean, security got pretty tight the closer I got, but I was able to find out more about this clan. And so he basically repeats to you all the information that you had already kind of gotten from other people, which wasn't very helpful. But he also discovered the clan name and where they're from. So I put it into the chat because it is weird spellings. but the clan that Miranda and Dominic are members of is Narolo, which apparently in Elvish, or in Sperethiel, which is the name of the language, means Fire of Night. And they are from Tir-Tirngeir, which is an actual elven nation.
Sounds it.
In northern Oregon that has been bequeathed to the elves by the Native American nations. They've been given the land to found and kind of develop their own nation, and it's still developing, but like it's a pretty big deal.
The Elven language in this game so far has a very the Elven language in this game so far has a very Gaelic look about it.
Yeah. It's a little bit of a combination of Gaelic and also some Lord of the Rings kind of influence.
I love it.
So yeah, he tells you that, and he says, I was able to also get a feed from one of the bridges that crosses the Mississippi that picked up her brother's vehicle, and I was able to get a recording of that feed, and she was in the vehicle, and this is again a couple of weeks ago. That's the last recorded image he was able to find of her.
And just for reference, are we watching what he's saying, or is he just describing it?
He can provide you with a file to look at, either on the smartphone is really the only display. He doesn't have, like, his cyber deck is all.
Can I ask Sigil if he can link up to a photocopier so we can just give it to Ben so we can look at the pictures?
Yeah, so can you send it to my fax machine?
He just laughs along with you. He's like, where would you even find a photocopier at this point? Even as he's like...
Ben has definitely got
Bird's
a photocopier.
Got one in his apartment, yeah, he's got six.
Right.
Vintage porn, photocopier, teletext.
Teletext.
The fax machine, right? But yeah, so he sends the short video clip to Cutter's phone, so everybody can see it. Because that's another problem with your headcom for Null is you don't have that video link yet, so you can't really see anything.
I accidentally open up a cat video when I'm trying to open it up, and then I'm like, oh no, sorry, wrong one, and then open up another cat video. And keep opening up these cute little cat videos. Sorry guys, sorry. There we go.
I'm pretty sure don't orcs eat kittens and stuff? Is this just not like orcs with cats in the mouth?
No, orcs are people. Orcs are people. Elves are people. They're just people.
I've never seen an elf with a kitten in their mouth. That's all I'm saying.
Potter's on a diet at the moment. He's actually eating nothing but vegetables, but watching the cat videos so that he tricks his brain into that he's eating the cats.
Yep, that's what it is. It's food prep videos.
Also, keep in mind just a bit of background. It is funny, but just a bit of background that. So the races in Shadowrun, they are all human, is the thing to keep in mind.
Mutations of human, eh?
Well, just different phenotypes, right? So humans are Homo sapiens sapiens. Orcs are, where's my list?
Homo sapiens orcus or something.
Homo sapiens robustus is how they've been classified. Homo sapiens ingenitus is the trolls. Homo sapiens nobilis are the elves.
The elves, I know that.
And Homo sapiens Pummelionis, which I think means small, is dwarves. And there's more than that. Like, you have all heard of, they're extremely rare, but you have all heard of, I mean, pretty much any fantasy race you can imagine, humans have turned into in the Sixth World. Now, to be clear, humans still vastly, Homo sapiens sapiens, still vastly outnumber all of the other metatypes. But just about any metatype you can imagine has a representation in Shadowrun. Changelings, well, maybe not like weird stuff from modern versions of D&D. Like there's no demon-blooded people.
Asimars and tieflings. And,
there's
there's a
none of
million
that,
races in D&D now, but yeah.
But think like folklore, right? So changelings, red caps, goblins, just about anything you can imagine. Bogarts.
Fairies.
Fairies.
Pixies.
I want to see some fairies.
Pixies and nixies, and yeah. But those are extremely rare, and you tend not to see them as much.
Gnomes and halflings, I guess.
Yep. Again, more
like,
rare, but
yeah.
yep.
Gnolls and bugbears and orcs and goblins and all those typical races.
And a lot of those, like gnolls and bugbears are a good example. A lot of those are all kind of sub phenotypes of like either orcs or trolls. There's actually, if you look into the Shadowrun stuff, there's a lot of cool stuff that they do with the background to it. Like one of my favorite things, I've already mentioned the vampiric virus. What kind of undead you turn into is dependent upon what metatype you are to begin with.
Oh, okay.
So like humans become vampires and ghouls. Elves become something else. Dwarves become something else. Trolls, interestingly enough, actually become Wendigos. There's a lot of weird, it's crazy. Anyway, back stuff gushing aside. So Sigil is able to give you a little bit more information and video confirmation that Dominic's vehicle, Dominic and Miranda traveled into Sajay a couple of weeks ago. And as he said, that was the last video or picture evidence he could find of Miranda on openly available networks.
I think it's obvious we're going to Sajay then. All clues point to Sajay, to us going there.
Sajay? No way.
And plus, if we
You'll
take
be all right
Sigil
with
with us, and we can get him through one of the nodes that's closer, you might be able to hack into the system, like, locally, right? If we get him.
True.
The thing is, you guys might be alright if I say you're with me, but an elf, I don't know how an elf's going to get on down there, like...
So, from the video, this is the only thing I wanted to ascertain from the video.
Yep.
When he said that she was last seen in the car, she is willingly sitting in the car as a passenger.
Oh, that's a good question. If you can kind of, if you figure out how to use a phone, you can kind of zoom in and kind of get a really close look.
I'm not a technophobe. I know how to use.
No, I know.
You just can't afford one.
You just don't own one. You could stop somewhere and buy one on the way if you wanted to. Like, shopping is a possibility. There's shops all over the place. You guys have some money.
Just do that with the phone and like put it right next to his eyes and then turn and like zoom. That's how you zoom in.
No, Cutter's not a complete idiot either. No. He knows how to use the technology that he has.
I'm from the street as well. I'm like a street thug. I've grown up like snatching phones and stuff. Yeah,
right.
I know
selling them, reselling them. Yeah,
how a phone works.
Sure.
I know what a burner is and that. Yeah.
Yep. But so it, as far as you can tell, it looks like, just a brother and sister out for a drive, like having a conversation. Obviously, you don't have any sound. And I wouldn't say the resolution is quite good enough that you could read lips, so just to cut that off at the pass. But it looks like they're having an animated conversation with each other. He is driving. She at one point clearly is laughing. Like they look like siblings out on a drive. Maybe
are these like siblings, like close, like Lannister close siblings? And we're getting that vibe for them because I'm getting that.
That's
vibe
a good
for
question.
Them.
So Sigil explains to you that a clan is not the same thing as a family, right? So although he personally is not the member of a clan, think of a clan as like the elven expression of a corporation, right?
Right. Okay.
Looking at Dominic and Miranda, it is certainly possible that they're related, but there's also enough different in their features that they may not be related by blood. So when they use the term, and Sigil can clarify this as well, when he uses the term brother with regards to another elf, he doesn't always mean that they're related.
Right. He just means male elf and sister for female elf.
Correct. Or close. He doesn't refer to every elf as a brother. Like, he would not call Dominic a brother.
Right. Okay.
But a male elf that is close to him, he would refer to as a brother. A female elf that is close to him, he would refer to as a sister.
Okay.
Like, he, in Null, has often seen Sigil refer to Sierra as a sister.
Mm-hmm.
So...
Some people in some cultures as well, and especially in a lot of Western cultures these days, like, we'll call people close their brother and their sister, and then of older generations we call them uncle and auntie as well. That's a thing as well.
Mm-hmm.
So just very similar things we have in human society today, I suppose.
Now, some other things that your knowledge checks. Well, you don't even need a knowledge check. These are easy things to look up now with the information that you have. And Sigil can pass on some of the information to you as well. But he does tell you that there is there's an embassy for Tyrngeir in Forest Park. There's actually a few embassies. The biggest embassy in Forest Park is for the Native American nations, particularly the Peoria Nation, which is a group of natives that initially came from this region, but then essentially were ousted and had to go elsewhere. But since the Sixth World dawned, they have come back, and they're kind of a big presence in the city, because their interest is in retaking Cahokia, which was initially their seat of their civilization long ago.
I have a question about that, Brian. Just to kind of understand the politics of how it works in this world today. So you're saying that these Native North American tribes have taken back over, and they've taken a lot of swathes of land in North America and Canada. These so like the Sioux and the Cherokee, these names that we're familiar with, these exist now and are in power. Now, do these still exist as separate nations like they did back in their heyday? Or are they one nation that rules together?
No, that's a good question. They do exist as separate nations.
Right. Like the Sioux and everything. They were separate nations, weren't they? They were their own nation.
Right, and some of those nations have changed. Like the Peoria Nation, for example, is now what would be a collection of the old Cahokia Nation and the Peoria Nation itself, and a couple of other nations from like the Illinois.
So a lot of smaller ones would amalgamate into.
Right.
So you get
but yeah, like
a dozen bigger ones or something.
Correct. So like inside the Native American nations area, which is mostly the western United States that they've taken back, you have like the Salish She, the Cascade Crow, the Cascade Orc Nation, which is a nation of Cascade natives that also became
Native
orcs
American
in the Sixth
orcs.
World, right?
That's cool.
So yeah, exactly. So yeah, they refer to themselves as the NAN, the Native American Nations, but it's kind of, think of it more like the UN, right, for the native tribes. Each tribe has its own land that has been...
Yeah, so they are still separate nations. That's what I was trying to work out, because that's what I figured.
Right, but they have a combined government. But they're all separate nations.
So I guess it was combining their forces together that was part of how they took it back as well, because the
fact that they learned how to use magic faster than anybody else.
So that's how they did it. They got the magic back faster, right? Okay, yeah. And that's cool, because what we see about them in our culture and our stories is that they are more in tune with nature and magic and stuff like that, and that's so flavorful that that the Native Americans have took back America. That's beautiful for me. It's
Yeah,
great. I love
it's
it.
pretty awesome.
Yeah. Very
I
cool.
can send you some links, but yeah, it's pretty cool. So yeah, so like I said, there is a Native American nations, a Peorian nation embassy in Forest Park, in addition to the embassy from Tir-Tir-Gyre. Forest Park, you all know from living in Gateway, was once just essentially a city park, but since it has been essentially claimed by the Native American nations and Tir-Tir-Gyre, it has become like a wildly overgrown natural place. And you generally don't go into Forest Park without essentially making an appointment and getting the leave of the people who now hold those grounds. So it's not technically a part of Gateway. It's a pocket of the Native American nations and Tir-Tir-Gyre in Gateway, if that makes sense. It's the whole park is theirs. And it's quite a large park. So there is an embassy. Just wanted to throw that out there. I think we are rolling up on a time limit, though, right?
Yeah,
I
we have about 45,
don't want to push you
45
too
minutes,
far,
yes.
Chris. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, is there anything you want to do? I mean, having an idea of where you want to go, if there's any other, I mean, you've engaged with some contacts. There are some things that maybe there's equipment that you're interested in asking about and potentially picking up for the upcoming run.
I was thinking, is there any way to disguise these humans to make them less human looking in Soji? Like, can we get some fake tusks or something going?
Things like that do exist. It is not uncommon. There's in fact a bit of a community, if you will, that cosplay as other metatypes.
I was going to say, I bet there's a massive cultural appropriation by the
massive
humans. The normal humans culturally appropriate all the orc stuff. Like, yeah.
Now,
Makes
most
sense,
of that
doesn't it?
most of that cultural appropriation, you might not be surprised to find, is more people acting like elves. But if you want to try to get something like that set up, you might be able to find some people in the area that might be able to put together possibly passable orc disguises.
Yeah, well, if we combined it with like big hooded, like trench coats that are like, you know, cover most of their face and stuff, I think we can maybe get them through. What do you think, guys? Is it worth thinking about? Just to be safer if we do go to Soji?
I would feel a lot more comfortable just not going there and maybe just hiding in your truck. You know, but that does sound like a plan. Would it be outside the realm of possibility for me to enhance this by researching illusions? So even if the outfits that we have are not perfect, I can enhance it magically by creating an aura around us or something.
It's a good idea. The problem with that is researching new magic. Yeah, researching new magic takes time, and you have to find someone who can essentially get you started. You basically have to pay in new yen and time to learn new magic. And normally I would say that, you know, depending upon the job, you might have time to do a setup like that if you had the money, which you don't. But in this case, you know that 2 elves traveled into Sajé, which is an area that is not particularly safe for them. So you might be on a bit of a time limit.
Mm-hmm.
And that was a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah. Anyone know any like, you said that she was looking to go, or he was looking to go to the red light. Do you know any like imps or ladies of the night?
Do
Either-
you know any? Do you know any? Because you
Yeah, I
kind
don't
of.
think-
You
I
know plenty
don't-
ladies
I
of the
don't-
night. We know
I
you know
don't-
ladies of the night.
I don't frequent.
You've got a lady
I
for
don't
every
pay
night.
For it.
You've got a
What do you
Monday, a
think?
Tuesday, a Wednesday,
I
a
pay
Thursday.
for it. You think I pay for it? No way. I'm a tight get. I won't even buy myself a phone. I spend all my money on
Learning magic, you
books.
nerd. You nerd. Books, you nerd. Exactly. You've got no
So-
women.
Mucky
you're-
magic, more like.
If you're concerned about traveling in the region, one thing you could potentially do is get a hard shell for the back of Cutter's truck. In fact, if we
Yeah.
want, if you want to, Oliver, we can say your truck already has a hard shell,
Okay.
and then the non-orc
level
people
3.
could hang out in the back of the truck.
I like that idea. I do like that idea because that's the one reason that I didn't say that was because I thought that it was going to be a pickup.
I mean, it is, but you could have a hard shell on
I'm
it,
on the middle
right?
class.
So, like, you
I'm on
guys,
the middle class living. I can have a convertible truck.
well, yeah, hard shells you can put on and take off. Absolutely.
I've got a convertible truck. It can be hard shell or soft. There we go.
Okay.
I
So
see.
yeah,
we
if
could
you wanted to
even-
do that, if you're concerned there, but again,
We could get it. We could get some like bulletproof plating put on the truck, and then when we drive through the hood, they'll just think we're one of them anyway.
well, I mean, your truck looks like it. Your truck probably already looks like it belongs in the hood. To be
yeah,
honest.
I belong in the hood. I'm from the hood. I'm one of these
Right.
people. I'm going to be
Right.
all right. I've got no problem. They're
I
gonna
am the hood.
They're gonna see me and be like, "Hello, how's it going? You're one of us." It's you
Well,
two.
to
I'm
be
worried
clear,
about.
let's not imagine that orcs aren't capable of fighting orcs, because they certainly are. If they see you by yourself, you're going to be okay. If they see you in company of an elf and 2 humans, there might be some, but you might be able to talk
Questions
your way
might
out
be
of it
asked,
too.
yeah,
Right? Yeah.
Can I do some research about people who aren't orcs there? Because clearly, if they've got like a red light district, they're not just going to be all sexy orc males and females. They're clearly going to
Absolutely.
have like. So maybe I can go. No one else will go with them, but Father Dowling style, because he always used to make the nun go undercover as a prostitute. Just every episode, if anyone's ever seen that, I'm going to do that.
2 days in a row,
That's
he's
in a
been a
row, he's
father
got that
darling
reference
man.
there.
Father Dowling's good too.
You
We're not
have
sponsored.
got a bet on with somebody about something, Martin, recently.
So, I think
Yeah, I want-
probably what you're going to want to do, Martin, then, is make a connect roll
Okay.
to try to. Well, how do you want to do this? You said you wanted to do
Just like-
research.
Well, it's just like I said, like, clearly we know there's a red light district there, and I'd be very surprised if they've just got orcs there.
No,
So-
yeah, the red light district is absolutely like all probably
Cosmopolitan.
less elves, maybe 1 or 2, but it's all metatypes.
Yeah, and is it like, are we talking like, if you're doing that work, you're like enslaved, or is it like a person's choice?
Okay, that's a
Like,
really good
yeah,
question.
like,
So
is it-
your understanding of the Billikens is that while they primarily are focused on protecting orcs and trolls, they are staunchly opposed to human trafficking of any metatype, and they are
Right.
staunchly opposed to people being held against their will and engaging in activities that they don't want to engage in.
Yeah.
They have been known, I won't say they always do, but they have been known to tolerate people of other metatypes if those people are residents of Sajay or working in Sajay. Working, if you take my meaning.
Yeah, that's cool.
But there is no, like, if they find that somebody's trying to do some trafficking there, they will put them down hard.
I
Chris is
got an
gonna say
idea, no.
Good to know.
Okay.
Me and you could say that we're going to work there.
Yeah.
And he's our pimp.
Good excuse for a human woman to be there. Yes, I'm your pimp. Yeah, I'm your pimp because I'm from the streets. I look like a thug. So me, I can easily could sell me as a pimp, no problem. I'm the orc pimp with his human
Yeah.
girl and his human.
Yeah.
You're both working girls. You're my working girl. You're my working boy.
To be fair,
You've got
I
a
would
pretty
think-
mouth. You've got a pretty mouth, Chris. You can get to work
I
too.
would think that Cutter actually would know that even the idea of a pimp is not cool with the Billikens.
Oh.
Yeah, no, but
Like,
pimp in a different sense, Brian, as in the
No, I get what you're saying.
manager does their PR, their
Manager,
marketing, gets
yeah,
them more
sure.
clients, gets them higher quality clients.
Okay,
You know
that
what I
makes
mean?
sense. Yeah.
Yeah, manager.
I got you now.
He can say
you're
that,
there.
but he's my driver. Like, that's
Or-
it. He just
Yeah,
drives
and
me
you're there to
places.
help them make connections.
I help them
and
make more
find
money.
work,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
you're not.
And also,
You're not in control of them. You take
no,
control.
I'm not in control of them.
But
yeah, so I don't have them hooked on drugs like an old-fashioned pimp. I
Right.
protect them.
Okay.
I give them protection to work in an orc neighborhood. I'm the reason they can be all right here. I vouch for them.
Yeah,
I
and that
give
makes
them
absolute
protection,
sense.
And
Okay,
I get
so
them
I'm gonna-
clients, and I'm the manager.
Won't even make you roll for that because that's definitely something that I think Null, with her focus and experience, would have some idea of like, hey, this could work.
Yeah. Yeah, I just wanted to know the thing between like are we enslaved or not. So you said no,
Yeah.
so we can just dress like streetwalkers, but with pride. I'm happy with
Sure.
that.
Sure.
So
Streetwalkers.
Noel doesn't need to do much because her clothing is quite sexual. So
It's
she's
already
just to,
there,
like,
yeah.
rip it a
And,
little
you know,
bit, maybe.
Some people might be into the look that Burn is rocking. You know.
Oh
How
yeah.
are we
Okay.
gonna talk? How are we gonna talk the elf into this one?
Edgelord Twink Boy.
So Sigil is just listening to you discuss all this, and he's
Yeah,
like,
yeah, the
I
sigil as well.
am not going to.
Yeah,
like-
he's not gonna go soon.
Right. Well, if you want cut of the money, you gotta do some work, and you can't do that from over here because I know that it's not like the HMV, FMV, LC, DTV, LMNOP movies that I have in the basement. You can't do that from far away. So your hacker
I'm
man,
aware.
what are you gonna hacker man do?
I will hang in the back of Cutter's truck until I'm needed. I can lay down and it's fine. Nobody will see me.
You're not getting 10 grand for lying down waiting in the back of the truck, though, mate.
I mean, if you
Well,
need
That's what I'm
me,
saying.
Well, here's an idea.
all you have to
So-
do is get me close.
That's what I was
Can I-
thinking. Is can we
Now-
get there and infiltrate the gang, right? So you're gonna be RN, Cutter. You're gonna be the talking man, right? We're there working as support, and you're gonna get your truck in there with him in the boot, and he's gonna get out and hacker Dacker man to see if they have any info on what happened to Dominic and the Dominic.
So again, he doesn't even have to get out of the truck if he's close. So there is a level of wireless connection, but you
Wi-Fi's
have to
15
be
feet.
close. Yeah, right. So if you get him close enough, he can do some basic hacks. If you want him to do a deep hack on something, he needs to connect directly. But yeah, he can hang in the back of the truck until you've either cleared it or cleared, the situation. It's also, I think Null would also probably realize that if you have what's looking like a small operation here of a couple of workers, a manager, it would not stretch the realm of possibility for a good upstanding manager like Cutter to want to have someone skilled with hacking at his side
An assistant.
to
my
protect his
assistant.
interests.
Yeah.
So you could potentially have Sigil just be recognized as, oh, he's my accountant, right? Like,
My accountant. There you go. He's my accountant.
fucking hell.
But again,
they always
it's-
get the cushy fucking jobs.
I know,
right?
I know.
but again, this is all going to predicate on Cutter's charisma and his
I mean,
roles.
I'm sure I can step in a little bit and
You
aid
can.
him, right?
And
if
the
he's
way
good.
that you're putting the plan together, it's going to give some bonuses to some roles, right? But we'll see how far it goes when we actually get there and what you're actually trying to do.
Great plan.
So you don't know some. Let's talk about some things you don't know before we get ready to sign off and head into the next session. You don't know where the Billikens are housed. You know they're there. You know that you're not going to have a hard time running into some. So if you just want to talk to some Billikens, that's one thing. But if you're looking to infiltrate their headquarters and get more information that way, you're going to have to figure out where that is.
Yeah.
And that might not be something that they're willing to just tell a random orc manager with a couple of streetwalkers and an account. You don't know what's going on with Dominic and Miranda, other than the fact that they did cross the bridge into Sigil a couple of weeks ago. What else? I think that's it, right? So it sounds like what you're planning on doing is just going into Sigil, seeing if you can maybe stir up some notice from the
Couriers to the street,
Billikens,
basically.
and going from there, right?
Yeah.
Am I understanding that correctly? Okay.
I'm just hoping
Put our ear
that
to the
they
street.
know a lot more than they like me.
So, do you want to head straight there? I mean, obviously you have to go back to. Pardon me. You have to go back to Cutter's place to put the hardtop on the truck, which doesn't take long. But then heading into. Let's see. Let's look at the map here. Nope, that's not the map. That's the map. So heading into Sigil, you're likely going to be crossing
Gateway Arch.
this
Next to there.
bridge
Yeah.
right next to the Gateway Arch, which is the I-55 bridge. It doesn't have a specific name. There are no checkpoints on that bridge, so travel there will be unrestricted, so you don't have to worry about that. And Sigil is this kind of whole southern strip here. Obviously, the Route 3 Plague Wall, you're not going to want to cross that, but Sigil is down in this area, and it is heavily, densely, packed. Assuming, are you heading over there right now?
What do you think, guys?
I'm ready. I couldn't really do very much.
Well, do you want to buy anything else that might help us, like minor improvements, like a phone for one of it for
Maybe
you?
we could get you a
What's
phone.
that?
I don't need a phone.
I love that you don't want one.
Have you got
Again-
Have you got a court order saying that you're not allowed on a phone? Have you got? Are you on a special list?
No, look, guys, I don't need a phone. It's a waste of money. I don't need one.
All right.
It is 50 new yen a month to have a basic phone plan. That's just a basic phone plan.
And plus, where we're going, I'm pretty sure there'll be, criminals everywhere. As soon as I pull my phone out, it's gone.
Wow, what is he saying about orcs,
I
man?
know, the racism in this
Criminals
game is
everywhere.
strong.
I'm saying nothing. I'm just telling you what I've heard because you said it.
Yeah,
not
I
me.
know what you're
You
saying
said-
about my people. I
you
know what you're
said
saying
you
about my
grew-
people.
You said you grew up on the street and you snatched people's phones. I'm just saying.
Did say
I don't want to buy a phone.
So because I snatch phones on the streets, all my people snatch phones on the streets. This is fucking racist, by the way. I love
Well,
it.
I think you should scare him and show him some orc-human intercourse because he might have to fake it. So maybe you should show him.
I'll show
what you
my
might
video.
have to
I'll
do.
show my video on my phone. That's what I'll do.
Yeah, show him a video of what he might have to do if he comes to it.
OneMan1orc.com.
Yeah,
Prepare them.
two
You're-
orcs, one human. See what happens.
The plumbing isn't different. It might be a little bit more dense, but it's not different.
Thicker.
Thicker, right?
I love
Girthy.
that. What type of sex do you like? Dense sex.
Dense.
Dense.
Thick. I like it dense, mate. Give it to me dense. Like an orc.
So,
Once you
Yeah,
get
I
orc,
mean,
you never go
if you're
back.
not going to pick up any supplies or anything like that, then we can move ahead and then we'll start next session in Sage. So yeah, as you head down the highway, um, traveling along the highway, the highways are quite large. I mean, we're talking at this point, there's probably 8 lanes on a side on the major highways, and there's always traffic. It doesn't matter what time of night. Um, a lot of the vehicles are operated by being connected to the traffic matrix at this point, so you can see people in other vehicles, engaging with displays and not really actively driving. But there are still quite a few other vehicles on the road that are still gas guzzlers and not connected to the traffic matrix. Probably like Cutter's truck. I would imagine you're not connected in that way.
No, my truck's like, it's got a big it's like souped up, it's modified. It's got a
Sure.
big engine and big wheels and
Yeah. And the traffic matrix is only something that engages on major highways. It's not something that engages on normal roads and back streets. But it makes it easier for you to drive on the highway because you don't have to worry quite so much about the other drivers. You know that the majority of them are going to be, controlled by the matrix. As you reach the bridge, you can see at this point the tiny gateway arch off to your left. The gateway arch is not actually tiny. It is... I should have looked this up before. It is 630 feet tall, which is fairly large. It's a little over twice the height of the Statue of Liberty. It's about 25 feet taller than the Space Needle in Seattle. So it is a tall monument. It's about double the height of Big Ben. But that being said, in this dystopian future, it appears tiny to the skyscrapers and the arcologies on the midtown side of the river. There's a nice park around it that is still maintained, although you've heard some horror stories about what goes on down there on the riverside in the evenings. So it's probably not often visited at this point anymore. The height of the buildings behind you and the arcologies and even the gateway arch itself, in all the neon and the lights, even in the depth of night, at this point we're probably moving towards midnight, possibly even 1 or 2 a.m. By the time you get to the river. It stands in stark contrast to what you see on the other side of the river as you begin to cross the highway. It's dark there. And I mean, you can maybe see pinpoints of light here and there, but it makes you even really question, like, is there electrical service on this side of the river? Or maybe people just can't afford to pay for it. There are some buildings of some height on the other side of the river. Maybe the tallest building you can see is 10 stories. But even as you notice the kind of shadow of this 10-story building, you feel like you see part of it literally fall off and crumble into the streets below. The Barrens are barren. They are a dystopian wasteland. And some of you may have been here before. Cutter probably has been here. Byrne might have even been here. This might be where one of the orphanages you spent some time in as a child was. But it is not a good place, and you know that. And yet, you also know that people do survive there, and people do thrive there, and sometimes people find their way out. So as you cross the river and head south into Sage, the one point of light that stands out is the red light district that is pretty much right in the middle of the Barrens. It's almost like a mini midtown from what you can see. There are some taller buildings, there's plenty of neon, and there are many, many advertisements for activities of nearly any stripe that you can imagine. But as you drive down the streets, you can see here and there the Billikens tag done by various artists. It's very clear that this is Billikens turf. And on nearly every street corner, you can see one or two or sometimes three or four individuals wearing the blue and silver colors of the Billikens. So really, you have your choice of where you want to stop and where you want to try to engage with the gang. But it's not like you're being chased by anybody. Nobody's trying to pull you over. You do, speaking of pulling over, you do notice a definite lack of any kind of police force in Sajay. Normally, when you're in Midtown, you will see the knight errant cars parked here and there with officers standing and walking about. If you've spent any time south of the CAS-UCAS border wall, which you can do. I mean, it's not like there's huge requirements to cross the border, so it would be like, I don't know if any of you are familiar with like Detroit, which is right at the border of Canada. People go back and forth between Detroit and Windsor quite often. It would be very similar to that. So if you've spent time south of the border wall, then you would see a lot of Lone Star vehicles and officers here and there. But here in Sajay, there's nothing of the kind as you drive through the streets. So I think with us only 20 minutes away from 11 your time, I think that might be a good time to call it for today rather than to get in some deep role play with the Billikens.
Save it for the next one.
Yeah, save that for the next one and get into some gang interactions, maybe some gang politics and what happens after.
Nice.
Some gang banging.
Some gang banging, maybe, if you're lucky, Chris. Brilliant. Thank you, Brian.
Yeah,
right,
thank you guys.
That was a lot of fun. I'm really into this already. Like really into this already. This is very cool. I like how invested in your characters you guys got so quickly as well. Like I can tell this is going to be a really fun one, Brian. I'm really looking forward to this. Right guys, say goodbye to YouTube. So YouTube, good night. Twitch, good night. Thanks for watching Chris's viewers. I'm Alex Oliver. This is the gang. We'll see you in 2 weeks for episode 2. Bye.
Bye.